All right, everybody, it's another Tuesday night in the year of our Lord 2025, and you know exactly what that means. It means the hat is back by popular demand, and that we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, all gloves off. Sports Media proudly presents to you its podcast tag team champions of the world, the Cleat Geek Mike Valentine. And of course, as always, there is the NFL knowledgeable, my buddy Cheese. And we are Lights Out Sports Podcast. And I just realized that we don't have the piece up here. Hang on.
We have a lot of lightning.
We have a lot of lightning, yes.
Thor is in the neighborhood. Do you
Yes.
know who that is?
All of those things are correct here, but we, for some reason, I think that's it. There we go. Look at that. And of course, we have our newest sponsor, Battle Bites, right down there in the corner, as we will show you and tell you all about that here later on in the broadcast. But we now do have a sponsor, and we'll talk about it here in just a moment. But of course, before we get too far, we can't do a whole lot without doing the walk-up music.
Are you ready? 20 seconds start now. Ten seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
Oh, I didn't even have the song ready. Look at me.
Time is up.
All right, everybody, we appreciate you being on with us here on the Lights Out Sports Podcast. Of course, we're going to do everything today, NFL, college, and MLB. We've got a great show for you today. We'll start you off with the fly. Here we go. The Flaming Five here in just a moment. And of course, we will end with the Lights Out list, our version of the top 10. We'll explain to you the Flaming Five in a moment, but I will tell you now that our top 10 are the 10 teams in college football that Cheese and I think have the best odds to actually win the college football playoff. We'll do that here in just a little bit. Other college football things we're going to look at. We'll look at North Texas. We'll look at James Franklin today, of course. And then our biggest winners, losers, and games that we are looking most forward to. Our MLB talk, we'll talk about Scott Boras. We're going to talk about the Mariners and their signing of Josh Naylor. I got to give somebody credit here in a little bit because someone on this panel predicted that would happen, and it was not me. Yeah.
Could have been.
I don't know. Then we'll talk about the reboot of the Washington Nationals, and we will talk about the free agent class of second base / shortstop today. We've already got 3 comments. I'll get to those here in just a moment. And I know we've got some NFL talk. Cheese, what are we going to talk about when we get to the NFL?
We're going to talk about spitting on other players. We're going to talk about the NFC North, maybe who's the best quarterback. We'll talk about the Chicago Bears because everyone wants to all of a sudden talk about the Bears. No one's really talking about them. All of a sudden, it's the Bears because they're in first place in the division. All of a sudden. And we're going to talk about the top 10 of the draft, the current standings, and go over what you want your team to do.
All right, fantastic here. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And then we just get a simple yo. All right, we're all right with that too, right? And then Raiders will win. Then they will win.
Not at football, maybe at other things.
Maybe there's other Raiders teams that he's talking about that we just don't know about. But I
don't see
the Raiders winning anytime soon.
They're not going to win at special teams. That's for darn sure.
No, and they're not going to win if they have their number one draft pick and they give him, what was it last night? 7 carries for 6 yards or something ridiculous like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not going to happen either.
At one point, he was 2 for 10. He was 2 for 10 in the first half. So he went negative in the second half. They don't block for it. They can't block.
And the only guy that could seem to figure those guys out was John Gruden. What in the world was that all about? Okay. Well, let's not talk about the Raiders too much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the 5 flamin' 5-5. Let me tell you this, Cheese. Tonight, no MLB questions, only 1 college football question, and 4 of the 5 of them are going to be NFL
WNBA?
questions.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. No WNBA?
No NBA, no WNBA. No vibrating things that get thrown on the courts in the WNBA or nothing like that. So
They're usually green.
Usually green, sometimes purple.
Sometimes.
Eventually will be brown. But we are going to talk about 4 football questions for you. None of them will involve the Packers. And then we'll get into a college football question, which will lead us straight into our college football spread offense, which will be our first segment. MLB 4-pitch talk will be our second segment. And then, of course, our NFL 4-down territory will conclude the show. So, for those of you who are first times, and we love each and every one of you, here's how the Flamin' 5-5 works. We give Cheese 5 minutes after I read the first question. He has those 5 minutes to get all 5 questions correct. And then if he does, we'll talk more about the 5th question. And if he doesn't, he'll burst into flames. And then I'll do the rest of the show by myself. So We'll see how all this works. Cheese.
Yes.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready. All right. I like it. Sometimes you're not as ready as I think you should be. But today maybe you are. Here we go, buddy. The Arizona Cardinals outgained the San Francisco 49ers by 207 yards on Sunday. This season, teams who outgained their opponents by 200 or more yards were 14-0. Now, of course, they're 14-1. Does this fact say more about the 49ers, or does it say more about the Arizona Cardinals?
It says more about the Arizona Cardinals. They just find ways to lose games. This is finally, I think every loss has been by 1 score. They actually lost by 19. I don't know how you lose by 19 when you have that many yards. In fact, Jacoby Brissett broke the NFL record for completions in a game, 47 to 57 for 452 yards, and he only scored 22 points.
Yeah.
It boggles the mind.
Right. All I'm going to say is it takes talent to lose like that.
It does. There were turnovers. It was a mess. They got down quickly. Like, I literally went to get a snack. It was 0-0, 13-0 when I came back. But they scored 13 points. Must have been in 5 minutes. So, Cardinals are absolute mess.
Yes, they are. Unfortunately, they are. But the tickets here are cheap now, so I guess there's that.
Yeah.
Second question. The 49ers as a team have 12 sacks. The Cincinnati Bengals as a team have 13 sacks. And the Jaguars and the Ravens each have 15 sacks. Myles Garrett by himself has 15 sacks. So my question to you is this. Do sacks not mean as much in today's NFL as they have in the past?
They don't. I'll tell you this about the 49ers. Bosa's out for the year, Nick Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
And if he was playing, you wouldn't be talking about them. They have no pass rush. But I think there's more an emphasis on pressure. Get pressure, and there's also emphasis on getting rid of the ball quicker. So, pressure rate is so big. Pressure rate. I do think Like, for example, Micah Parsons has a better pressure rate than Myles Garrett. But Myles Garrett has gotten the quarterback down 7 more times than Micah Parsons. I think it's gone too far past. Like, pressure is important. Yes, pressure causes incompletions, interceptions. But I do think getting the quarterback down is still more important than people realize. There's some people out there literally saying that pressure is just as important as sack, getting a pressure. And it's like, no, the negative yards. So really impressive what Garrett's doing. But yeah, sacks just, you can luck into some sacks. So it's just, sometimes the other person gets the pressure, knocks into you, and you get the sack. So yeah, it's just not as big as it used to be.
All right. So the Bills, Chargers, and Jaguars I can't wait for the answer to this question, by the way. The Bills, Chargers, and Jaguars have the final 3 wild card spots locked up. Each have beat the Chiefs this season. All 3 of those teams have. And Houston actually has the 8th spot. Kansas City has the 9th spot. And Baltimore has the 10th spot. Could we have an AFC playoff, Cheese, without the Ravens and Chiefs this year?
Ravens are going to win the division. I mean, they are. So, yeah, we could have it with the Chiefs. The Chiefs, you saw their schedule is brutal. Chargers and Broncos. Well, Chargers look good until this past week, but yeah, Broncos look good. Chiefs, I still think they could make it. I still think they have a good shot at making it, but yeah, we could see the Chiefs missing it, and their fans will not be happy.
Right. All right, so question 4. Well, we've got 1 minute 30 seconds left, so let me rush through this. Wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba is the first player in NFL history with 75-plus receiving yards in 10 consecutive games to begin a season. You have a choice here. Is he A, a top 10 receiver? Is he B, a top 5 receiver? Or is he C, the best wide receiver in football right now?
Top 5.
Top
I would have probably said top 10 after the first 4 games, but he's playing they can't cover him. You can't cover him. He's getting downfield. He's been amazing. So I think he's now in the top 5 range.
All right. Last question. 45 seconds left. Georgia has as many wins against currently ranked teams as Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon combined. We talk a lot about the AP Top 25 here, so let's ask you this. Is there a Big Ten bias in the AP Top 25?
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of Big Ten schools that, Penn State's not ranked. I just think Georgia did a lot of SEC schools ranked, so they have more opportunities. So I don't think it's necessarily like a Big Ten bias. I think Georgia just has played a lot of teams that are ranked because SEC is just deeper this year. Big Ten's a little stronger at the top.
All right. You did
Did I
it.
make it?
Did it
Barely,
again.
with
You were
1
close.
second.
I know you were close. I clicked that thing off the screen real quick so it wouldn't turn you into flames. I wanted to make sure, but you were worrying me there for a second.
I was watching it.
Okay, so let's talk about this this whole Big Ten bias thing for a moment. I agree with a lot of what you said, but I also want to give you the numbers. All right, so Ohio State has 1 win of current ranked opponents. Indiana has 1. Texas A&M has 2. Georgia actually has 3. Ole Miss has 2. Texas Tech has 3. Oregon, the reason why they were in that conversation was because they have none. Oklahoma has 3. Notre Dame has 1. And Alabama has 4.
Yeah, you got to think, though, like, who was it? Because it's possible. I haven't looked at, obviously, I didn't know this question was coming.
Right.
Maybe 3 of the wins or 4 of the wins are gets teams that are like ranked 16th, 20th, 21st, and 25th or something. I'm not saying it is, but it's depending on like who you play. If you have 2 of your wins versus top 10 teams, it's amazing. If all your wins are versus teams in 16, 25 range, it doesn't look so good. But yeah, the SEC, there's just a lot of top 25 teams because they have more opportunities to play. Iowa State just has not had a lot of opportunities, and Penn State not being ranked, not being good, that takes away a ranked team that you expected to be ranked.
That's true. That's true.
Is Illinois ranked? I'm not sure if Illinois is still ranked.
I don't think they're ranked in the top 25 right at the moment. I don't have it pulled up in front of me.
They've been ranked most of the year. Yeah.
They have, but I don't think they're ranked at this time.
Okay. Because a lot of those teams, I think, a couple of those teams beat Illinois. I was curious.
Yes. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about some more stuff here. We're going to jump into our college football right now, college football spread offense. So we're going to look at North Texas. We're going to look at James Franklin and talk about him for an extended amount of time here. The biggest winners and losers of last week. We're also going to do the game that we are looking most forward to this upcoming week. And then we will conclude our college football segment with our top 3 Heisman candidates. And just a preview for everybody, once the season is over, Cheese and I have agreed one of these lights out lists, or our version of the top 10, is going to be a top 10 list of Heisman finalists. So look forward to that here in the coming weeks. All right, Cheese. So for the first time since 1959, North Texas is ranked in the AP Top 25 poll. Honestly, I had to look them up to see what division they played in. I didn't know who North Texas was. We talked about this off air before we came on. I had some wrong stats on them, even that I'd put in the notes that you were correcting me on. That's how much I did not know who North Texas was. Do you think they deserve to be ranked in the top 25 right now?
Well, they're 9-1. I guess you need, unfortunately, there's not a great non-power 4 team. One team makes the playoff. One team that's not in those 4 big conferences gets in. Mm-hmm. So I think the pollsters want to make sure they get one. I guess James Madison is also 9-1. I just realized that they're ranked, but yeah, I don't have a problem with it. 9-1, they're ranked 22nd in one poll, 23rd in the other. Imagine if they had Chandler Morris. He transferred to Virginia, the quarterback. He's played really well for UVA. Imagine if he stayed at North Texas. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Just some breaking news here, by the way. You mentioned James Madison. It looks like James Madison's head coach of their football program, I don't know his name right offhand, but it looks like he is going to go to UCLA. So there were some rumblings about it right before we came on the air. I was following our Twitter timeline, which, by the way, I thank all of you guys for jumping on board with us. We're almost 8,000 people on X, so appreciate that. I don't necessarily have a problem with it because they're 9-1, but I agree with what you just said. I think if they are ranked, then James Madison needs to be ranked too. That's my only kind of flaw in the whole system.
Yeah, those are probably the 2 favorite right now to get that spot. They need to be the 12th seed if they do get in. If both those teams lose, watch out for Navy. They just had a big win over South Florida. I would love to see Navy get in and be that 12th. That would be really cool. I have Army left, and I can't remember the other team. But if they blow the last 2 games out, at Memphis, they're at Memphis. If they blow Memphis out on the road, they blow Army out, and James Madison and North Texas each lose a game, then I would love to see Navy get in.
They have some great uniforms and helmets for that Army-Navy game this weekend. If you haven't seen them yet, I will search that up and throw it up on our X timeline. I don't think I did it when I saw them earlier, but they got some neat-looking hats. They got some neat-looking helmets that they will be wearing for that Army-Navy game. As far as the college playoff goes, you mentioned it a couple minutes ago. So do you think a team like North Texas, or whether it's James Madison or whoever it is, do you like the fact that they're gonna be in the college football playoff, or should they be replaced by another SEC or Big Ten team, even if they have more losses?
This is such a good question. There's so many scenarios and circumstances. I'll say this: if you're not in the top 20 in rankings, I don't think you should. Maybe even top 15, but definitely top 20. If you're not, I don't know if you should get in. I think it should be like, okay, we'll let a non-power 4 school in, but yeah, you can't. What if the top team that's not in the Power 4 is unranked? What if there's 7 teams that are 10-2? Who do you pick?
Right.
So I really think, okay, for example, what if BYU is 10-2? Should they get it over 11-1 James Madison or 11-1 North Texas? If BYU's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I think so personally.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. I'm not going to say, okay, Vanderbilt's 9-3, they should get an over 11-1 team, but a 10-2 team in one of the Power Four conferences, yeah, but it's not going to happen. They want a non-Power Four team in there, so it's not going to happen. You never know what will happen if they ever expand beyond 12.
Right. Cheese.
And by the way,
let me.
What?
Go ahead. Well, you let me forget something.
Okay, what'd you forget?
That.
Oh. What I was
okay.
What I was going to say was,
yes,
if you follow me on X at Football with Cheese, or my YouTube channel at Football with Cheese, CHEZ, I did 2 college football videos the last 2 days. One was all about the SEC championship game and playoff scenarios. Same with the Big Ten was today. Yeah, Big Ten, believe it or not, was a longer video, more complicated than I thought. But yeah, there's a lot of scenarios for both conferences, so make sure you check it out on my channel. Yeah.
And I tell you what, buddy, you're really getting those down. The one yesterday, I put it up there. You got that one done in less than 10 minutes yesterday. So, I mean, I got to listen to that and a couple other podcasts on my way home. So I was really happy with you. It's like, oh, I can listen to Cheese and then a couple other things that I like. So I was pretty happy with that. Today's was like 12 and a half minutes or something like that. So I got to listen to that one and then one other podcast. So, yeah.
Yeah, the Big Ten, just took a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm trying to. The SEC one was 15 minutes originally. I just cut out so much stuff. But yeah, the Big Ten one was 17 and a half. I'm like, no, I can't. But I cut out 5 minutes of it. So, but just wanted to make sure I got the points about where you want to be ranked in the playoff, whether you want to play in a title game or not, whether you want to win the conference title game, because winning the playoff is more important. Ohio State didn't even play for the Big Ten title game last year, and they won it all. That's more important.
It is interesting. You did do some really good scenarios, and as I'm listening to you, I'm like, no, Cheese, no. And then you gave your reasonings behind it, and I'm like, okay, that actually makes sense. So I'll put it to you this way, ladies and gentlemen. Go to his channel, watch the Big Ten one from today, and if you think that the winner of the Big Ten conference title has the best shot at winning the entire thing, you might be wrong. And he'll tell you why in that video. That's a fantastic video how you break it all down.
Oregon won it last year. How'd that go for them in the playoffs?
Yeah, it didn't go very well for him. You're 100% right.
It did not.
So do you think that they're only ranked, they being North Texas, do you think they're only ranked in the AP Top 25 poll because there has to be a non-power conference team in the college football playoff?
No, because Tulane's ranked, James Madison's ranked. I think there's just not enough like Power Four teams that, teams like Louisville now 3 losses, Iowa 3 losses, Pitt 3 losses, so they all dropped off. So Illinois, yeah, they're second in votes, so basically ranks 27th. So yeah, I just think they reward a team with 1 loss versus a team with 3 in a Power Four.
But are there? Okay, so I like the BYU comparison. I really like that one. I think BYU is in the same boat, but they play a much tougher schedule. So if everything stays the way it is, BYU has what I believe 2 losses right at the moment.
No, they're 9-1.
Are they 9-1? Okay.
They only lost to Texas Tech on the road.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens with them. But I think a 2-loss Power Four team should definitely get it over a 1-loss non-Power Four team because they do play a tougher schedule. All
right. Let's jump into the James Franklin talk for a moment. We got some. I want to discuss this because I don't know. Well, we'll go with it here. I got a bunch of questions for you here. So as I'm sure you know, and most of our audience knows, if not all of them, James Franklin has been hired as the next head football coach of Virginia Tech. So he went from the Big Ten to the ACC. Now, the top 10 in the ACC is kind of like the 4th best team in the Big Ten, right? Would you agree with that or not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No one in that conference. Yeah, it's better than the top 3 Big Ten teams. Yeah, 4th at best.
Wow, you're going to add at best to the back of it. I thought I was being mean when I said 4th best team.
So the ACC, just think who is okay. It's Miami, Georgia Tech, Virginia, someone like that. There's no way they're better than Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. Are they better than USC? Are they better than Michigan? I don't know. Maybe
not.
Maybe not. Yeah.
All right, that's interesting. That's interesting. So I wanted to look at the open college candidacies right now, right? So I'm looking at it like this. Here's what I would do, and I love your opinion on this. I would rank LSU, Florida, Oklahoma State, Penn State, which I know he's not going back to Penn State, and I would also rank Auburn above where he went to, which was Virginia Tech. I might even put UCA or UCLA in there as far as above Virginia Tech. Why would James Franklin take this job so early in the coaching carousel when there's bound to be more teams beyond this, and there's so many more teams that are better?
I'm not touching UCLA. They've had Chip Kelly, they've had Rick Neuheisel, they've had Jim Moore Jr. Can't win. There's something about UCLA. I don't know why. It's in California. You think they do well. I'm not touching that. You mentioned LSU. Here's the problem with LSU's opening. First of all, I'll say LSU and Florida, I do not think were interested in James Franklin. They're not going to be interested in a coach that can't win the big game. But LSU, you have to beat Alabama. You have to beat Ole Miss. You can't get upset by Mississippi State or an Auburn. You have to beat Florida. You have to pretty much go 11-1 at least. You have to play in the SEC title game, and you have to make the college football playoff every year, or they want you fired. I just don't want that job. I don't want nothing to do with LSU. Their fans are crazy. They are literally insane. Auburn's another one. Your SEC schedule is brutal. You're always going to play Alabama. You're always going to play LSU. You're going to play Texas A&M. Georgia. They always play Georgia. So I don't really want that either. Oklahoma State's just a disaster right now. I think Franklin feels like, let me rebuild it at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has underachieved the last 2 years. They're better than the record each of this year and last year. Maybe he thinks I can turn it around next year, and maybe in a few years I can get a better job. You know, if I win 8 or 9 games at Virginia Tech, that's going to make me look good. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think?
Well, I mean, he did recruit a lot from that area. That he got a lot of those recruits go to Penn State and be something special at Penn State. So he should be able to recruit from that area if he's there, obviously. So I think that'll be a little bit of an advantage for him, and maybe what he was thinking here. But I also, I don't know. So if I'm James Franklin, I don't know if I jump right back into the coaching business like he did. I might try to take a year off. I might try to rest. I might try to reset myself. He and I
could have done TV.
Maybe do TV.
I've seen him kind of on TV a little bit. He's very good, actually.
He actually is. I'll give him some credit for that.
He is.
So I just don't know why you would take this job for that amount of money, and you know, he had to do a restructure with Penn State where now he only gets $9 million instead of the $49 million. I would have a really good job. How about that?
He did a good job at Vandy. It's a smart hire by Virginia Tech. That's the best they could do. So since Beamer left, they have really not. It's funny when South Carolina let Beamer's son go, Shane Beamer. I thought maybe they skip Franklin, go with him, but I guess they were already negotiating with Franklin. But yeah, I think it's a good hire for Virginia Tech. I don't think they can get done. Well, I don't think they can get any better, and we know he can recruit. So.
He can recruit. I'll certainly give him that. He's proven that over the years. But there's a couple other negative things he's proven, and we'll get to that here in just a moment. Now, the other thing here I wanted to tell all of our fans out there and yourself too, if you hear this awful rumbling in the background, it's really not my stomach. We're having some really nasty storms out here in Arizona right at the moment. So it's thundering and lightning pretty good out here. So if you hear that in the background, that's what it is.
The gods are mad at the Cardinals.
Yes, and they should be. I'm mad at the Cardinals. Oh, man. So in 15 seasons at Penn State and at Vanderbilt, he has won 68% of his games. But the parity of college football is just so close now. You have to do all the little things right to win. And Franklin has kind of proven over the last few years especially that he's not a little things coach. He does some of those little things really wrong. So I don't know if that's a great hire for them or not.
Yeah, maybe beat Ohio State once. His record against Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State is just horrible. And yeah, he beats the teams he should, but he never can win the big game. And yeah, that'll be a problem if he, is at Virginia Tech for 4 years and he loses to Virginia 3 of those 4 years. Yeah, he's not going to last. Like
Right.
So yeah, he just has not been able to get over the hump. Even at Vandy, he had some big wins, but not really big wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in that same 15-year career, Franklin is, you ready for this stat? Against top 10 opponents, he is 4-21.
I think he's a 1-11 against Ohio State. I don't know if they're ranked top 10, all of those, but a lot of that is Ohio State. Let's just throw that out there. But still, that's terrible. But yeah, that's still not good. Because Penn State, a lot of those games were also in the top 10. It's not like they weren't ranked. It's not like it's Rutgers' record. This is Penn State.
They were in the Final Four that was supposed to compete, and he didn't compete with them.
Yeah, they were in the Final Four last year of the playoff.
All right, so there's our James Franklin thing. Here's our third and final piece of our college football spread offense. Our biggest winners, losers, and the games that we're looking forward to. So this time, ladies and gentlemen, we kind of banter on this back and forth, do Cheese and I, with all of you guys. Sometimes I put down who I'm going to pick, and sometimes I don't. This time I gave Cheese who I was going to pick, so he could do something different if he wanted. So I'll go ahead and go first, since you already know who I'm going to pick. My two winners last week are probably not winners that many people would pick, but they're kind of, they're still winners. They just weren't standout winners. How about that? And then I got two teams here. Clemson is the first one, and you're like, Clemson's terrible. Why would you say they won? They kept themselves bowl eligible. So as long as they won last week and they win, I believe, one of their next two games, they're going to be bowl eligible, even though they've not done well this year. And bowl eligible is at least something. They'll get some additional money for their university, and they'll get to go somewhere and play a bowl game. So I think they won just keeping themselves bowl eligible by the way that team has played this season. And my second team that won was Arizona. Arizona beat the University of Cincinnati over the weekend, and now this coming week they I believe they play. I can't remember who it is. Anyway, I should have written it down, but I did not. And then in 2 weeks they play Arizona State. So hopefully both Arizona State and Arizona can win this coming weekend, and then they can have a good clash for what we like to call around here the Territorial Cup. And that should be a really good game here in a couple weeks. So I thought Arizona won by beating a ranked University of Cincinnati team in the Big 12, and then marching on forward to possibly, there's a glimmer of hope that they can still make the Big 12 title game.
They host Baylor next week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I thought the most obvious winner was Oklahoma. They went at Alabama. That's so hard to do. And they already had 2 losses. You have to win out to make the college football playoff. You have to go 10-2. We've talked about this. You can't go 9-3. The committee will not let you in. So winning at Alabama, staying alive, and the next 2 games are at home against Missouri and LSU. They'll be favored in both. And, Virginia, great bounce back win in the driver's seat for the ACC title game. They have a bye week, and then they play Virginia Tech at home. But they went to Duke and just dominated the game. The score is 34-17, but it was way more lopsided than that. So after that terrible game at Wake, Virginia bounces back against Duke.
Okay. So the losers this past week, and I think they're actually kind of obvious, at least to me. Some of these guys were really, really kind of set up and poised to do great things, and they ended up not doing so well. So hang on, I'm on the wrong screen here, so I gotta bounce back to this other screen. All right, here we go. I'm doing a lot of stuff right at the moment. I'm clicking.
Got a lot going on, man. You got a lot going on. Yeah.
I got a lot going on. Yeah. So Iowa was my first big loser. Of course, they lost to USC, who, by the way, I don't know if it was Iowa that lost or if it was USC that won. I almost put USC in my winner. and I can't. Well, we'll talk about the game that we want to see here in a little bit, but they're involved in a game this week that I'm really looking forward to as well. And then, of course, you can't talk about losers, and I love to talk about this team when we talk about losers. So maybe it's a little bit of a impartiality on my part, but you can't talk about losers this week without talking about Texas, because Texas blew it. They had a chance to maybe be relevant, and they just completely blew it. So I'm going to say that my two losers are Iowa and Texas. Cheese, who are your two losers for this past week?
The same.
The same two teams?
Yeah. This is really good podcasting. The same. Yeah.
Yes, the same. All right.
No, I want to talk about Iowa. Yeah, Texas they got handed pretty good against Georgia. But I want to talk about Iowa. Iowa, they have, let's see, they've lost 4 games now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They lost by 3 at Iowa State. They lost by 5 against Indiana, who's the number 2 team in the country. They lost by 2 against Oregon, who's number 9, or number 8 or 9, and they lost by 5 points at USC. If they win 2 of those, which they could have, they were beating Oregon until late in the game. Oregon had like a 47-yard field goal to win the game.
Yes.
If they win 2 of those, they have Michigan State, Nebraska, and they're in the college football playoff. They could have won all of those. Mm-hmm. And they have not been able to finish in the fourth quarter in those games. So Iowa, despite being 4, they're the best 6-4 team in the country. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'll give them that. They are a really good team, but because of the record, they're not going to make it. They'll be. Hopefully they can get a bowl game.
Yeah, they'll go to a bowl game, but it's just how close. They're like 2 plays away from 8-2. And they're 6-4.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like you mentioned earlier. We were talking about the Arizona Cardinals. They've lost. I don't know, over half of their games by one score. I think all of them but one. They've lost
but one.
Score.
I think their first 9 games were all 1 score either way. I think, except or 8 of the 9, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, except for the game where they outgained the other team by over 200 yards. They got killed in that game. That makes a ton of sense.
I don't think Jonathan Gannon's going to survive.
Now that's going to be interesting because I still think he's going to survive, but we'll see. That'll be something that we'll talk about
more on that
later on. Yeah,
later on.
Later on in the podcast here. Yeah. So the game that I am most looking forward to is another Big 12 matchup, and I know I've talked about Big 12 a lot this year, but I'm really into that conference. I've watched a lot of stuff. And I'm looking forward to BYU at Cincinnati, 9-1 BYU against 7-3 Cincinnati. And one of the big reasons why I'm looking forward to it is I want to see more chaos. And if Cincinnati can pull out that win and make BYU a 2-loss team with a whole bunch of other Big 12 teams, all of a sudden there's chaos in the Big 12, and it becomes a lot of tiebreakers and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a University of Cincinnati win. I'm hoping for a good game. And I just want to see chaos in the Big 12 so that they can be maybe put on the map a little bit more as a better conference than most people are giving them credit for.
Problem with that game is Cincinnati has been awful the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
Got blown out at Utah and lost at home to Arizona. They look awful.
So, they look bad this past week.
If they were 8-2, this game would be bigger because both teams still alive in the college football playoff. Yeah, mm-hmm. Cincinnati right now is just playing to knock BYU off. I did not pick that game.
Okay, what'd you pick?
Well, USC at Oregon is huge. USC, they have 2 losses. They have to win out. They have to beat at Oregon and beat UCLA at home. If they don't, they're done. They have to win. If they win both, I think they're in at large. And Oregon, they only have 1 loss to Indiana. If they do lose, they'll still probably get in the playoff. But what will happen is they will probably fall to a 10 or 11 seed, something like that. And you have to go on the road. You don't want to be seeds 9, 10, 11, 12 because you go on the road the first week of the playoffs. So that's a big game. And Pitt at Georgia Tech is an elimination game. The loser is out of the ACC title game. The winner probably will play Virginia in the ACC title game. So Pitt, Georgia Tech.
Isn't that kind of wild that the Pitt team that's got 3 losses already, and I really thought they would have played Notre Dame better over the weekend, and they just did not.
They couldn't stop those running backs.
No, they couldn't.
not.
They could not.
Yeah.
All right, so I know we want to end this with our Heisman. So let's go ahead and do that. Do you want to go first for this Heisman Trophy, or do you want me to do it, buddy?
I'll go first. So are we doing who we think or who we would pick?
Let's do who we would pick.
Okay, good. Okay. Because I looked at the odds and I'm like, what?
I don't agree with these odds at all. I was looking at them too.
Okay, my number 3 is Julian Sayin, Ohio State quarterback. He's been just really efficient. Like you said, they haven't played necessarily the toughest schedule, but they're the number 1 team in the country, and he's been really, really good. So Julian Sayin, number 3.
All right. I'm going to go with I'm not going to go with the Ohio State guy.
Okay.
I've got 2 Ohio State guys that when we do our top 10, they'll probably be in that, but they're not going to be in this top 3, at least right the moment. I'm going to go with the Texas A&M quarterback, Marcel Reed. Now, I listened to it. I didn't get a chance to see it. I did listen to it. The game over the weekend where we just absolutely trounced in the first half, and it seemed like he couldn't hit an open receiver to save his life. But then they come roaring back in the second half. So I think that'll do wonders for him, and I think he's going to jump up. And he impressed me some on Saturday, so I'm going to put him at number 3.
A friend is texting me. Julian Sayin has 80% completion percentage. That's unheard of.
Wow. I did not know that.
So I don't have Marcel Reed. I would have had him last week. I watched that entire game. In that first half, he was awful.
Yes.
Horrible. Like, he threw 2 interceptions. He should have thrown 4.
Mm-hmm.
He was just completely missing guys. Played way better than the second half when South Carolina just went to sleep. Probably played not to lose. I don't know how you scored 30 in the first half, scored 0 in the second half. Texas A&M is so lucky they won that game.
Yep.
But so I couldn't. Yeah, I just couldn't put Reed in there after that first half performance. My number 2 is Jeremiah Love, running back for Notre Dame. He can do it all. He's so good at catching on the backfield. He's so big. He's so fast. I don't think he's on the Ashton Jeanty, Bijan Robinson level pro prospect, but he's like 1 notch down. And it's so weak. The top 10 is pretty weak in this draft, so he might go top 10, but he has just been tremendous for Notre Dame and just keeps making big play after big play.
All right, so just to be a little, no, I can't do that. I'm on because we said who I would
Jordan
pick.
Tyson. Jordan Tyson.
Well, it looks like he's going to come back this week. By the way, I sent you a thing earlier. So he was at practice today, and I got some people there at Arizona State who I've known for a little bit, and they were sending me some photos and stuff. And he was in full pads today and everything. So we'll cross our fingers for him to come back this week at Arizona State University. I was going to try to be a little different than you, but I'm going to do it. Jeremiah Love would be the guy that I would pick number 2. But I will say this: I understand what Notre Dame is doing with the 2 running back deal, but I would love to see how much better Love could be if he was the only running back for Notre Dame right now and they didn't have the 2-headed monster. I think that's going to hurt him in the Heisman, and that's why I picked him as number 2. I'd love to see him go number 1, but I don't think he will just because of that fact.
I don't think he's going to win it. Running backs used to win it more often. Now the position has been kind of devalued. Yeah, I think Jadarian Price. I haven't looked at all these running backs yet, and I'll have to watch a lot of the film. But if I was ranking running backs right off the draft, I would put the 2 Notre Dame running backs 1 and 2. It's a weak running back class, but I think right now those would be my top ranked running backs, and they're both on the same college.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Who would be your number 1 guy in the Heisman voting race?
I think it's pretty obvious, but I'm going to go with Fernando Mendoza, quarterback from Indiana. He's just been tremendous, and he's been clutch. They almost lost to Penn State, but he played so well in the fourth quarter. He's got 30 touchdowns. He's just an absolute stud.
And I'm going to do the same thing. I mean, right at the moment anyway. It's funny how when we started this thing out that he was barely in my top 10. Now all of a sudden he's number 1. So yeah, Fernando Mendoza, Indiana's quarterback. I will tell you that I'm looking at the odds right now, and I'll give you the odds here. So Mendoza is 1 by the odds. Julian Sayin, who neither of us put in our top 3, is number 2. Marcel.
I have
do what now?
I had
Oh,
him
that's right.
third.
You did put him at third. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You're gonna get your flowers here in a little bit when we do the MLB thing. Okay? Do you have to get flowers in every category we do?
Just being accurate.
So, so Mendoza's one. Sayan is second. The A&M quarterback Reed is third, and then it goes to Diego Pavia, and then Gunnar Stockton. Those are the top five. Love's not even in the top five, which I think is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the way that the odds are.
Gunnar
right?
Stockton. Come on. He should not be that high.
He's looked better the last 3 weeks.
He has. He's on the fourth ranked team and he's their quarterback, but that's why he's up there. But he hasn't been he's not a top 5 player in college football. It's the best player in college football. He's not top 10.
So what you're saying is he's not been lights out. That's what you're saying?
Correct.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, guys. Hey, that is our NFL. Or no, that was our college football spread offense. We will do the NFL here in just a moment. But before we do that, of course, we're going to do our MLB 4-pitch talk. All right, guys. MLB 4-pitch talk. Today, we're going to do the shortstop, second base free agents. We're going to look at the top 5 of those. We're going to look at the Scott Boras clients here in our first question. We also had a poll question on that we may get to here in a moment as soon as I can find it. I've got all kinds of windows on everything open here, so I'll get to it here in just a moment. Also, we will look at the Mariners and what they did over the week, and the reboot of the Washington Nationals. I'm liking this, and it's in the division where Cheese has one of his top teams, which is the Atlanta Braves. It's in that division with them, so we'll talk about that division as a whole, and we will talk about the Washington Nationals as part of that division. But first, Cody Bellinger, Alex Bregman, and Pete Alonso. None of them have a qualifying offer attached to them now, but they all have Scott Boras attached to them. So would any of those players being in the Scott Boras camp, Cheese, would that shy you away from signing any of those 3 players?
Yes, I wouldn't even. Because they're going to take, Boras makes his clients take the highest offer no matter what, even if it's not the best fit, even if the stadium doesn't fit what they're good at. I would not, I don't want any of those players. I wouldn't.
Wouldn't touch.
You said Pete Alonso, Bellinger. Who was the third one?
Alex Bregman.
Bregman. Of those 3, I'd probably rather have Bregman. But no, because you're going to have to overpay.
Yeah, you're going to have to. I mean, and then you said it 100% right. That's what his clients do. That's what I'm not going to say makes them do, but that's at least where he persuades them to go. So yeah, that's probably going to happen. I don't like Scott Boras. I think he's like the devil of the yeah. I just don't like him whatsoever. I'm trying to get to our poll question here.
Say something about Scott Boras real quick.
Mm-hmm.
He has way too much power. A lot of people on the players union are his clients. He uses John Heyman. Now, allegedly, I can't say for sure, I don't have evidence this, but y'all know, uses John Heyman, the worst baseball reporter ever, to put fake tweets out there, to call out the Cubs, say the Cubs had the worst revenue to spending. They were like 25th or 26th. They weren't last, but he lied and said that. Boras wants all these teams to spend more money. He hates the Cubs because they don't go out and just blow past the luxury tax. He doesn't like the Braves. And John Heyman even posted on X, Aaron Judge to the Giants when he knew either it's completely incompetence or he knew it was to get the Yankees to give him more money. When he put that tweet out, it was Boras telling him what to do. And Boras has way too much power over baseball, and I just absolutely despise him. It's one of the reasons the game is bad is because of him.
Right. So right now you're looking at our MLB segment for Pitch Talk, as you can read there on the bottom. We're also telling you on that display at the bottom, the banner there at the bottom, the ticker tape, as a lot of places like to call it. We are now on Spotify and Apple Music. So if you like just audio only when you're driving in the car, you can do it that way and listen to us there. Just look up Lights Out Sports and you'll be able to find us there. So it said on the poll question, this is how we'll start tonight's Lights Out Sports podcast. MLB's Cody Bellinger, Alex Bregman, and Pete Alonso don't have the qualifying offer attached to them, but they do have Scott Boras. If you were a baseball GM, what would you do? And here were your three choices. Don't sign them because of Boras. Would sign because of no draft pick compensation on them, or neither Boras or the picks. It wouldn't make a difference to you. And we have 13% saying neither one of them would make a difference. 25% of our listeners said they would not sign, or they would sign because there's no draft pick compensation attached to them. But an overwhelming 63% of our fans out there said they would not sign them because they are Scott Boras clients. So pretty interesting by our fans. That 63% is a lot. So they agree with you, Cheese. They would not sign them, and I wouldn't either. I'm not going to say I wouldn't sign them. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. As a GM, right, and that's the way I posed the question. As a GM, I wouldn't battle back and forth with Scott Boras. I would go to Scott Boras and I would say, okay, this is what we are willing to sign this client for, and this is our offer. Take it or leave it. I'm not doing the whole battling back and forth with it because I think half the time Scott Boras kind of convinces you to battle with yourself, like you're the only team in the mix, and you know he gets things going,
or uses
to go back and forth,
or uses John Heyman like with the tweet. Aaron Judge was never going to the Giants. It was all a lie.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, you know what, Boras, there's 5 or 6 teams he goes to with his clients every year. There have been a few other teams that have signed his clients, but for the most time, it's like the same 5 or 6 teams that he tries to get them. And if those teams don't want his clients, some of his clients have had to sign 1 or 2 year deals in February because he overplays his hand, and other teams are like, that's too much. And then they find, you know, they either trade for a player or sign a different player of the position.
Jordan Montgomery.
Some of his clients have absolutely failed in free agency because he overshot his hand.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess all agents have done that to a certain extent. There have been players out there that other teams have signed that have just been a bust too. But I just don't like Boras. We could talk about this for a while, but I don't want to get off on this tangent too much. I just don't like Boras and what he stands for and a lot of the things that he has done to and with Major League Baseball. Let me spin this a different way. Would not having to give up a draft pick, would that make you as a GM sign one of these players to a longer term contract or to a higher value contract because you don't have to give up the player?
I would not value more. If I'm a general manager, I would not say, oh, you don't have a thing attached to it, let's just throw more money at it. I'd still have a budget, but I would be more willing to sign them than a player that I have rated the same because I don't want to lose the draft pick and $500,000 international bonus money as well. So I would prefer not to sign people with qualifying offers, but I would not just throw more money at it because of that. I'd still have the same budget. What about you?
I don't know. And I can't wait to talk about this next part of the question when we get to it here. But I would be more inclined to give them maybe another year or maybe a little more money because I do value the pick. If they give them a qualifying offer, let's qualify this for a moment. If they give them the qualifying offer and then they sign for $50 million or more, like just give you an example. So Zach Gallen just denied the qualifying offer. $22.2 million, by the way, was what it was this year. 4 teams accepted them. I'll get to those here in just a moment.
4 players and 9 rejected. Yeah.
Yeah. 4 players did accept it today, including one of your Cubs players did. So if they then sign to another team for $50 or more, they get a prospect at the end of the first round. So that's a pretty high prospect. That's a pretty highly touted prospect as well. So I would value that. And if I don't have to give that up, then I would be willing to sign them to a more lucrative or maybe even a longer term contract.
it's not just the draft pick, it's the pool money for the draft that you can use to overslot or underslot. And it's also, you lose $500,000 international bonus money to sign international players as well. So you don't just lose a draft pick. That's a lot to lose. You better hit on that player. And it might take you over the luxury tax. So yeah, I would be much less inclined to sign someone with a qualifying offer.
I want to go back to this post here for a second, right? So it says Raiders will win. They will win. Now, McKenya. Is that how we're going to say it? I think that's what we're going to do.
McKenya.
Right?
McKenya.
Yeah, something like that, right?
McKenna.
Let me give you a stat, McKenya, right? So the Raiders are paying Chip Kelly $6 million a year, which makes him the highest paid coordinator in the National Football League. And his offense currently ranks 31st. just throwing that out there, right?
It's not his fault. The offensive line is horrific, though.
Well, that's true, but still, I don't think they're winning anytime soon. That's
Geno Smith's not helping anything.
No, not at all.
No.
Okay, so I want to ask you this because you're the NFL. You're more the NFL guy. I'm more the MLB guy, right? So there's draft picks in the NFL, there's draft picks in MLB. So in your opinion, what's the difference to an NFL team and getting a draft pick or an MLB team and getting a draft pick? Without getting too far in the weeds, let's not go real far in the weeds, but
I could talk for 20 minutes on the differences in the draft. You can trade NFL picks. You can only trade what is it, that bonus pool picks that they give to the 10 smallest markets, that lottery between the first and second round, second, third. I'm not going to get into what that is, but that's the only picks you can trade. I really wish you could trade MLB picks. And I think that's the biggest difference. Also, NFL, there's a slot value. You can't underslot and overslot. There's a lot more strategy involved in MLB draft because you can say, okay, I want to sign this player under slot, and then later on, you might go way over the slot. Like in the second round, you might sign a player to like the 15th best contract because you went so under slot with your first pick. So there's a lot of maneuvering you can do. But I really wish you could trade picks and make the draft so much more interesting. But I think I guess it was Rob Manfred said he didn't want the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers just trading all their future first-round picks for prospects. And the teams that don't spend a lot of money would take that because they want the draft picks, they want the pool money. But what they should do is do what the NBA does, is you can't trade your draft pick, your first-round pick, more than once every other year. So you can trade like 2026, but you can't trade in 2028, 2030, but you can't trade, back-to-back years. So that just, you can put restrictions on it. I just trade up, trade down, and make the baseball draft, which I'm the only person I know that watches it. It would just make it so much more interesting.
Draft, to be honest.
Okay, there's two people that watch it. It would just make the draft so much more interesting. And if your team was rebuilding and you had 3 of the top 12 picks, holy crap, you can completely redo your roster. What if you get 3 really good position players, 3 really good pitchers? 2 years later, might completely redo your team. So I just wish they, be able to trade picks.
Yes. There were so many. Oh, I'm looking at all this stuff, man. Daggone. I'm gonna.
It's also a lottery.
Well, I mean, so Trent Grisham accepted. Gleyber Torres accepted the qualifying offer. Brandon Woodruff did for the Brewers, right? Let me go back and say Trent Grisham of the Yankees, Gleyber Torres of the Tigers, Brandon Woodruff for the Brewers, and then Shoto Imanaga of the Cubs all accepted the qualifying offers. So then today there were 9 more players that were added to the free agent market, which we all kind of knew they would be anyway. But here, let's just make it official. Kyle Tucker, outfielder for the Cubs last year. Kyle Schwarber, the DH for the Phillies. Infielder Bo Bichette. Astros left-hander Framber Valdez. Padres righty Dylan Cease. Phillies lefty Ranger Suarez. Edwin Diaz, the closer of the Mets. Zach Gallen, who pitched last year in the starting role for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Michael King last year as well. And if you give me a minute after we talk about the signing of Josh Naylor, there were some names I think a lot of people are going to recognize that were designated for assignment today. I'm surprised at some of these names, and we'll get to them here in just a moment. I want to be able to tell everybody about it, but not take a ton of time with it. So, I agree with your assessment as far as the draft picks go. We may do a special on this either in between the two drafts or before one of the two drafts or something like that. You and I need to talk off air. We'll kind of give our fans a little bit of this. I'm going to be off all week next week, so maybe we'll do something a little additional next week as far as that goes. So be watching for the Lights Out Sports podcast, as I'm going to actually have all week next week off, and we'll have some time. But let's go to the Mariners for a second. And buddy, hang on. I gotta do it. Give me 2 seconds to find it. Yes. Hang on. I'll give you another one.
Mariners win the Super Bowl.
Cheese was right last week. We did the first baseman, the top 5 first baseman last week, and he said that he thought that Naylor was going to re-sign with the Mariners. And lo and behold, sir, he did. Good job by you. 5 years at $92.5 million. He also gets a full no trade clause, and he got $6.5 million of it in a signing bonus up front. Will this be the start of the dominoes for just those medium type free agents, or do you think this will start having the effect on the top free agents on the board, Cheese?
Probably not the top. I still think a lot of teams might wait till after the Rule 5 draft, because you have to be under 40 people on your roster to take players in draft, especially the people picking the top 10 of that draft. They want to keep under 40-man roster. You can't draft a player in that. I'm not going to go over what that is, but if you want to know what the Rule 5 draft is, look it up. But you have to have at least 39 guys or fewer. So some teams they want to wait till after that. I think it's going to be slow, and then it'll start taking off. But the main thing, I think, the reason he re-signed is he got that no trade clause. I think that was huge. That's about the money, the range that people expected, but that probably sold him, because players don't want to buy a new home, get a big contract. Okay, I'm living here. Then all of a sudden, a year and a half later, oh, by the way, yeah, we traded you to Tampa. Yeah, there you go.
We got to move schools, take your kids across the country, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
you have to play for the White Sox now.
It's torturous. I don't care how much I'm getting paid. That's torturous.
The horror.
But I will talk about a little bit more than what Cheese gave you about the Rule 5 draft. So he's 100% right. We're getting ready to have a draft in Major League Baseball, and in that draft, there are unprotected players that teams can grab off of another team. The only catch to it is they have to have them on their 40-man roster for the entire rest of the season, or they offer them back to their original team for $50,000. Now, I'm going to give you some names today. I think some of this is Ramon Urias from the Astros got designated for assignment today. JJ Bleday from the A's. I mean, when you have an A's player getting designated for assignment, so he got designated for assignment.
Pick. He was a prospect.
Yes,
he just has not lived up.
There's going to be a guy from my team, the Cincinnati Reds. I have two. I have the Reds and the Diamondbacks. Now, the Diamondbacks actually designated Tommy Henry today for assignment, which I was a little shocked about. He's recovering from Tommy John, so I'm pretty sure they're banking on the fact that nobody's going to pick him up, and then they can just re-sign him, which could happen as well. But Jake Fraley got designated for assignment today by the Tampa Bay Rays, and an ex-Cub got designated for assignment today by the Tampa Bay Rays. Hang on, I want to get back up here and see this here. I want to be able to look at your face when I say it. Christopher Morel got designated for assignment today by Tampa Bay. Used to be with the Chicago Cubs, so they got him in the Paredes trade.
I will say this about Christopher Morel. Every team should call him and try to sign him to a minor league deal. There is no better locker room guy. There's no one who loves the game more. He's always smiling, always happy. He just has trouble making contact. When he does, he's great.
Yes,
it
goes really a long way when he does.
His rookie year of the Cubs, he had this really good stretch where he was hitting everything, and the fans loved him, and He just doesn't hit enough, doesn't make contact enough. But he's got tools. Every single team should try to sign him to a minor league deal.
And hopefully, I'm sure someone will. Someone will give him a chance. But it'll be interesting to see who gives him that chance.
Come on,
let's go back to Josh Naylor for a second, Cheese. So Naylor, I'm going to give you some stats on him. 128 weighted runs created plus. Now, I want to set this up for a second because I was looking at a lot of these numbers. There's a lot of things that I did not put on there for today because I don't know if our fans really know what some of these numbers mean. So I'm going to tell you this. We're going to do something, and I haven't talked to you about this yet, but we're going to do some vocabulary lessons for our fans out there. We're going to take a stat and we're going to explain what it is. Start writing this down. We're gonna take a stat and we're gonna explain what that stat is and does, and we're gonna start that next week with our MLB. So in the off seasons of all of this, like when we get to the off season of the NFL, I want to talk about different defenses and what those looks look like and everything else, because I am not real educated on all of that either. So I don't know. I love to listen to Tony Romo, but sometimes he talks so darn fast and he tells me what's about to happen. And 9 times out of 10, it usually does happen as soon as he says it's going to happen. But some of it I get lost on because I don't know exactly what 3-4 defense means as far as, the 2 deep safety and all this kind of stuff. I'm just trying to visualize all this stuff in my head. So if I love the game as much as I do and I don't understand it as much, I want to use your brain and spread some of that stuff out with our listeners. And I also want to do the same thing with our MLB stuff. So weighted runs created plus. That'll be the first thing we talk about next week. And we'll explain exactly what that is and how you can know what it is. But he was a 128 weighted runs created plus in 2025. That's a career high for him. His last 4 seasons, he's batted .275, .336, .464 slash line with 88 home runs. And over those 4 seasons, he's had a 123 weighted runs created plus. And he was 30 for 32 in stolen bases. So, plus 12 OAA, which is outs above average as well. So a couple of things that we'll look at, some of those stats before it's all said and done. But Naylor is an above average first baseman. And I don't know about you, but I think $92.5 million for 5 years is a really good contract by the Mariners to get him signed as well. Not just, a good payday for him. I think this will be good for the Mariners too.
First basemen are easier to find. They don't get paid as much as other positions like shortstop or center field. But if anyone that wants to know what runs created plus is, I'll just say it's the easiest. I won't explain the whole thing, but it's if you're 128, you're 28% better than league average.
Above league average, yeah.
Like if you were, for example, if your catcher's 95%, he's 5% worse than average. That's great for a catcher because there's not a lot of good hitting catchers. So,
correct.
First baseman 28% better is good. It's not great. He's not a great player. He's a good player. If he played catcher, that'd be amazing. It depends. Second baseman, that would be amazing. So you got to take into position, but still, he's 28%. He's 28% better than league average. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's nothing to sneeze at, right?
Yeah.
All right. So last thing on the Mariners and Josh Naylor here. So do they also now re-sign Jorge Polanco and Eugenio Suarez, or just one of those, or what do you think the Mariners do next, Chase?
Oh yeah. So I think they want to re-sign Jorge Polanco. I think he really came on for them in the postseason. I think that's probably their main goal. They got some pitching. If not, who knows? They might. And Gleyber Torres is off the board. So, yeah, I think Polanco is probably and maybe a bullpen pitcher, probably their target.
Yeah, I made this shortstop second base list we're going to do here in a minute, and I put Gleyber Torres on it, but he signed the qualifying offer today. So as Cheese just said, he's off the board, and we'll talk about Jorge Polanco here in a moment too, as to where we think he will sign. We'll see if Cheese goes by his words here, and he will re-sign with the Mariners. We'll find that out here in just a moment. But first, I want to look at the last thing before we get to those free agents, and that is the reboot of the Washington Nationals. Cheese, I think this is kind of interesting because you wanted this, I think, with the Atlanta Braves. I'll set it up as that, and then we'll talk about it. So, new president of baseball operations, who is Paul Tobonai, I believe is how you say it, Tobon. Don't cover that up with your hand. Which mug do you have today, sir? The Green Bay Packers mug.
All check. Right. Yeah, I can actually. You haven't been able to use it for a while. I can't show this anywhere. but finally they actually won a game. Yeah.
Well, that's good. They barely beat the Giants on Sunday. So
Well,
we'll talk more about that in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you drop 4 interceptions. Jameis Winston throws them out there. It kind of hurts when you drop 4 interceptions.
It's true. It's true.
Right.
So their new president of baseball operations is 35. Their new manager, Blake Butera, is 33.
Yeah.
Cheese, are they too young to be in those positions in a Major League Baseball clubhouse?
They're young enough to be your kid. Just realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It depends. Certainly Andrew Berry was hired at like 32, 33 for the Browns. That's been a disaster. I think Theo Epstein was hired in his 30s to be the Red Sox, so that worked out. It just depends. It's not like they're 24, 25, but it's definitely new school, analytic driven. That's the young guys. So it's a strategy. We'll see if it works out.
Right. And I think it's going to be an interesting strategy. We'll continue to talk about it here. Since winning the World Series in 2019, they have the second worst record in Major League Baseball behind the Colorado Rockies.
No, I would have guessed White Sox. Okay.
No, it's the Rockies, actually.
Okay.
So how daunting... Yes, just shake your head and move on, sir. So now that you know that stat, right? How daunting is this rebuild going to be for these two young guys?
They got a pretty good farm system. They got some good young players. I don't think it'll be too bad. What they need to do is go out and sign some veterans to 1-year deals and then try to flip them the deadline. They're not going to be very good this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then keep building the farm system up. And it's probably, they're not going to win next year. Maybe not the next year after that, but just, take the next 2-3 years and let's try to win in 2028 to 2032, that range. And and if Mackenzie Gore's a perfect example. Listen on Gore. I think they did the deadline. Wait for the right offer. Don't shop him. Listen. Let people call and listen. Right. And if somebody blows you away, get some prospects.
Then do it.
Yeah.
Understand. So I got 5 questions. Here's the third one here. Butera, their new manager, he was chosen in the 35th round of the 2015 draft. He only made it 2 minor league seasons, and then he managed short season, and he managed a single A. So short season is below single A, for those of you who don't know. And then all of a sudden, he became senior director of player development. So he never managed a team above single A, and all of a sudden, he's the manager of the Washington Nationals. He has never been in a Major League Baseball dugout. Does that make a difference to you if you're a player for the Nationals right now, knowing that your head coach or your manager has never been in a Major League Baseball dugout?
I think it might with some of the veterans, especially if you're older than him. I haven't looked at the ages of the national players. I think it could. I think it could be a factor. The fact he went into player development tells me they thought he was a rising star. They thought that he was really smart and he was just a baseball guy. Because you don't start and just, let's put you in development.
Right.
I think we're going to see more of that. Young people they go to development side and then come back to manage. I think we're, very new school analytic. So they thought they had something there. That's why they did it.
Well, I think this is going to be interesting because this is the first team in the Washington Nationals that's going to do this. And if it works in Washington, then I agree with you. You're going to start seeing a lot of other teams go young, and you're going to see a lot of other teams go in and dip into like the player development pool instead of the ex-manager or the AAA manager or whatever pool. So this will be an interesting experiment, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it here for a moment. You look like you were going to say something. Did I interrupt you?
The Cubs tried to get Mark DeRosa, who went to Penn, who works for MLB Network. They tried to get him in the development. They offered him, but he's got a good TV deal. He turned it down. So they wanted to develop him as like a future manager. This is years ago. This is, probably before David Ross was even there. Probably when Joe Madden was there was when they offered him. So and he went to Penn. It's if you're a sharp mind, I think we'll see more of this. I've never seen a year where there were so many surprising hires. The Padres basically hired a former bullpen pitcher. The Giants hired a college coach. I'd never seen so many crazy hires. Nationals, Orioles hires were surprising. And it was just a crazy year for managers.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how the season unfolds. Let me give you this. 60% the Washington Nationals plate appearances last year were by players that were 25 years or younger. So not only do they have a young coaching staff and a young baseball operations guy, as you said, they've got a lot of young people, even on their 40-man roster. So is that an advantage for the young guys or a disadvantage for these young guys trying to take over?
Probably a slight disadvantage. I don't know. The thing is, when you're rebuilding a team, you want to put the young guys in the best situation possible.
Mm-hmm.
And you need some veterans in the locker room that are just like great team guys, leaders. Not necessarily they don't have to be great players, but yeah, you need to put your young guys in position to succeed. That's the main thing when you're rebuilding.
Right, I agree with that. I like a lot of their young players. Wood,
Mm-hmm.
I like. He's a stud. I like Robert Haslam III, who you're going to see come up. They've got 4 or 5 guys out there. Mackenzie Gore, who we've already mentioned.
CJ Abrams, yeah.
Yeah, Abrams is there, the alien, as they like to call him, at shortstop. So
what's that other outfielder's name? Oh man, I can't think. He was their first round pick a couple years ago.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I can't get the
name. Think of his name. As soon as you said James Wood, I was like, I just think of James Woods, and I think of Quahog, and I think of Family Guy. So it just took me out of it.
One of these great guys over here, or gals, that's on our comment section, I'm sure will throw us the name up here eventually. They'll tell us exactly who it is, and then we'll get
Dylan
to
Cruz.
Put him up here on the board.
Dylan Cruz, he's a
really
good young player. Yeah,
you got it all by yourself. But I also want to do. Here's my last point with the Washington Nationals and their young rebuild here. As we get really close to 50 people being with us live here on the Lights Out Sports podcast, which we certainly appreciate. You know this maybe better than anybody, Cheese. This team is trying to rebuild in a really, really tough division, a division that's got the Mets, the Phillies, and the Braves. Yeah. So how difficult is it going to be to rebuild in this particular Major League Baseball division with those 3 powerhouses?
They should be fine because they're not ready to win right now. Who knows? In 3 years, in 2028,
the Nationals aren't ready to win right now, right?
Yeah, who knows? In 3 years, say it's 2028, the Mets and Phillies might be bad teams. You never know. 2 or 3 years can completely change. So you shouldn't really be trying to win. You should be trying to rebuild because you're not going to compete with those teams. So I think they'll be fine in the future. We'll see what happens with the Mets and Phillies in a couple of years, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. All right, let's look at our top 5 free agents in second base and shortstop. All right, so the first free agent for me, I put some numbers up here for you this time. I didn't put these up here for you the last time, but I was nice to you this time. Jorge Polanco is the guy we're going to look at first. He's a switch hitter. This past season, he batted .265, .326, and .495 with a 132 weighted runs created plus. We're giving you that one again. We'll get to that here next week. He hit 26 home runs, and he had a 15.6% K rate, which is the lowest of his career. Knowing all of that, knowing he's a switch hitter, knowing he can play second base or third base, where do you think Jorge Polanco is going to go? And did you do the money this time like we did the last time or not?
I didn't do the money.
Okay.
I just not. I will get it so wrong predicting the money. You never know. Sometimes the market, people get way overpaid, and some years they get way underpaid. You just never know. Especially with the CBA going to expire after next year, some teams might not be willing to spend it all. I think we could be disappointing, but I have him re-sign with the Mariners. I just think he means a lot to that organization. But I will give you a sleeper team.
Okay.
That needs another bat to go with Bobby Witt Jr. And that's the Kansas City Royals. I don't know if they'll spend. He's the kind of free agent I could see them getting. He's not going to get $100 million contract, you know.
No, he's not.
They could use a veteran, and then they need another bat. The Royals do to get back in the postseason. But I still think he ends up back with the Mariners.
I didn't think about that, to be honest. That's a nice pickup. But your logic there makes sense. I think because he's going to be cheaper and he is a veteran, I put him on a team that's young, not the Washington Nationals, but I did put him on a younger team that I think also needs a second baseman. I did this last week, and some people laughed at me on X and were like, no, they're not. But I keep hearing this team's going to spend. But I don't think they're going to go high end here. So I'll give them the Pirates 3 years, $40 million from the Pirates for Jorge Polanco. The second one that I chose to do in these top 5 shortstop second base free agents was Ha-Seong Kim. So he turned down a $16 million player option. And then from 20 to 24, he batted 250, 336, 385. That's only a 106 weighted runs created plus. So he was only 6% better than the average player. All right. So I'm probably going to have to change my pick now because of what happened when the rule with the qualifying offers here, which I did not think was going to happen. They surprised me by Gleyber Torres accepting that and going to the Tigers because I had Ha-Seong Kim going 2 years, $30 million to the Tigers, but that's probably not going to happen now that Torres signed with the Tigers. So where did you have Ha-Seong Kim going, Cheese?
Well, real quick, there's a rumor that the Pirates were offering $79 million to Josh Naylor.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if that's true, but of course that was well short of $92.5 million. But by the way, I had Torres re-signing with the Tigers before that in my notes, just saying. But anyway,
okay.
Kim, I have Kim.
Gave you flowers once, man. Stop it.
So you said Kim was 6% better than league average bat?
Yeah.
He's a very good defensive player. Well, he's a very good defensive player. They're valuable. And there's a team we just mentioned that needs could use a shortstop, needs sign veterans a 1-year deal, and then can maybe flip in the deadline. And that's the Washington Nationals. Why not go after him? If shortstops that are good defensively and hit, even at league average are valuable, and you can get something for him. So 1-year deal with the Nationals. That's my prediction.
Okay. And he was, by the way, Ha-Seong Kim coming off of surgery too. So give him a little bit of a break, even though he was only
better in the past.
He's hit better in the past. Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
Who do you have? Yeah, you had him.
Tigers.
Who knows? Maybe the Padres. Maybe they call him again. Maybe he goes back to the Padres. You never know.
Maybe. You know what? I'm gonna flip it because I had Gleyber Torres going to this team on a 1-year, $20 million deal. So I'm going to give him to the Athletics, 1 year, $20 million, since obviously Gleyber Torres is not going to go there. So we're just going to skip over Gleyber Torres. We're going to do our last 2 shortstop, second baseman. This guy's interesting to me. Willie Castro is who it is. He plays infield and outfield. He was non-tendered by the Tigers earlier in the year last year. He's a switch hitter. He batted 250, 335, 398. And he played every position on the diamond with the exception of first base and catcher. And he also stole 56 bases. He had a walk percentage of 8. So
he stole 56 bases. There's no way.
Not in the past. You know what? I think that's wrong. Just knock that out.
He stole some
bases, but I don't think he stole 56. I think he stole 26 bases, and I wrote down 56 if I remember correctly. But I have him going because of his versatility. I know this team really well, and they love versatility in their players. And I don't think they're going to re-sign some huge, big name. So I'm going to give Willie Castro to the Cincinnati Reds on a 2-year, $13 million deal. What about you and Willie Castro, Cheese?
Stole 10 bases last year, 33 in 2023. Willie Castro.
That's what it was. I got it.
So he's a super utility guy. He was on the Twins. He was traded the deadline to the Cubs, and I didn't really understand that at all. And he was awful.
He didn't do much.
He hit for like the first week. He was getting playing time. When they made the trade, they had injuries, so he got playing time. And then when everyone came back from injuries, he maybe started once a week, and he was horrible defensively in the infield. Horribly at second and third.
Yes.
Much better in the outfield. But defensively, I know he plays a lot of positions, but he doesn't play them very well. Why not go back to the Twins? They're kind of rebuilding. Why not go back to the Twins? And once again, they can try to flip him again. The deadline. They got 2 pitchers from the Cubs. Of course, neither one of them were great prospects, but yeah, go back to the Twins. By the way, you have Pirates and Athletics being aggressive. Look at Mike.
Yeah,
going with the.
We got to try something, right?
I guess. Yeah, I could see the Athletics going after one big time free agent. I could see that.
Yeah. All right, sir. So our last one, of course, is the big one. This will be interesting to see where we have him going, and I've got the money attached to him. You're going to hate where I'm going to have him going, but that's okay. So he's Bo Bichette. Okay. Bo Bichette played second base in the playoffs only because he basically had to. He was hobbling on one leg, so I'll give him that in the World Series when he was with the Toronto Blue Jays. He had one bad injured season, which was, let's see here, it was 2024. But in 2019 to 2023, he batted 299, 340, and 487, which are really good numbers. That's a weighted runs created plus. I got to give it to you again, 126. In 2025, he did even better this past year, 311 for a batting average, 357 and 483. That is 34% better. That's also the weighted runs created plus. He was 34% better than your average hitter. He had the lowest K rate of his career at 14.5, and he was Major League Baseball's second best hitter from July 6th to September 6th. Now, he doesn't have great defense. His grades have been -12 and -13 outs above average. You can look that one up. We'll give that one to you later on. So here's where I have him going. This team is going to be able to put him at shortstop and then plug their shortstop back into right field, where Teoscar Hernandez is a free agent and they will not re-sign him. That will save them $22 million. Some of you are already going to know where I'm going just by that one right there. And I think the Los Angeles Dodgers will sign Bo Bichette, add to their collection of players, and give him an 8-year, $250 million contract.
Oh, jeez. Well, he can hit. Rarely do people hit over 300 anymore. He can hit, and he doesn't strike out. That's so valuable because so many players just strike out now and don't hit for average. So those players are valuable. Yeah, I think he needs to play second or third. I think shortstop's pretty much done with it. He's not been super healthy, and he's just a terrible defensive shortstop.
He's not great.
He has a qualifying offer, so it's got to be a team that doesn't care. If he doesn't go back to Toronto, I think they want him back.
They do.
But I got a feeling he's not. I got a feeling he's going to be up it. And when I thought about this, it's like, what team doesn't care about the qualifying offer, and what team may lose a second or third baseman? And that is the Boston Red Sox. Alex Bregman may leave, so why not sign Bo Bichette? You got that green monster. He's going to hit Bo Bichette's going to hit that monster all day long, and he will play third for the Boston Red Sox.
I like it. Very interesting. We've given these 5, actually only 4 of them, because Gleyber Torres did what he did today, which was fine, but it just didn't work out for us as far as that part goes when I wrote this segment. So
do we not want to do the Japanese infielders that are being posted? We're not doing those? Okay.
No, let's not.
Okay. I didn't think so.
No, let's not. But I tell you what we do need to do. First of all, as you can see at the very bottom, and we're going to put this up here on the screen real quick before we go into our NFL 4-down territory. Let's do it. Look at this. Fuel your battle with Battle Bites. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got Battle Bites as our big sponsor right at the moment. We certainly appreciate them coming on board with us. They're sending us out some snack packs and stuff like that. So we're going to be able to tell you by next week how this stuff is. They got the 3 flavors. And it's muscle recovery, 26 grams of high protein, low carb formula that's clean ingredients and premium brisket and natural spices. 25 grams of protein, only 180 calories, 1 gram of fat, and 100% brisket. They have Reaper, original and spicy sweet. They give 10% of all of their profits to the Wounded Warrior Project. And as a first responder, I really love the fact that they do that. And you guys, everybody here, as it says there at the very top, you can use the code ALLGLOVESOFF10. That's ALLGLOVESOFF10 for 10% off of your order when you go to Battle Bites, our first sponsor here of not only the Lights Out Sports Podcast, but also of All Gloves Off Sports Media. All right. Now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice,
Wounded Warrior Project. That's awesome. We need to do more for our wounded vets in this country.
Absolutely. I love the fact that they do that. They give them 10%, and you guys can also get 10% off by using that code. Again, that is all gloves off 10. All right, give them a try. Go over to their website and find out exactly what all you can purchase from them. They have some great products, and we'll talk about them more as we sample them and get to know the company a little bit more. All right, so Cheese, it's your turn, buddy. Let's jump into the NFL.
Okay.
4 down territory. All right, buddy, you can have this segment. You wrote it. You have taken care of everything. Where are we starting on the NFL 4 down territory, buddy?
We're going to start with the Chicago Bears. So the Bears had high expectations coming this year. I'm not going to get into that. They lost their first 2 games, and people just stopped talking about them. And all of a sudden, they have won 7 of 8. And because the Lions and Packers, haven't been as good as expected, they are now in first place at 7-3 in the NFC North. So now everyone's talking about it, and this is very common in the media. When a team wins a bunch of games in a row and all of a sudden find themselves in first place, all these media people are like, oh, wow, they must be really good. All of a sudden, oh, they're really, just out of nowhere. Football time. So the Lions and Packers, I think, have more talent, but they've been inconsistent, like I just said. And people like Colin Cowherd are all of a sudden like, oh, look at the Bears, 7-3, when they're ahead of the Packers and Lions. They must be really good. They're great. Like, they're a contender. They're amazing. Like, all of a sudden, Cowherd. I really cannot stand it. He might be the dumbest human being that's ever lived. He makes Skip Bayless look intelligent. That is how bad Colin Cowherd is. Skip Bayless actually gets like 10% of things right. Colin Cowherd doesn't even sniff 5%. Okay, so went off on my notes a little bit. Went off on a little tangent. I have a lot to say about the Bears. I might make another Bears video, but the Bears have a negative 6-point differential, despite being 7-3, and they've played one team that currently has a winning record. In that game, they lost by 31 points. I'm going to give you the remaining schedule. Okay. They're 7-3, have 7 games left. Pittsburgh at home. Despite being home, they're only favored by 3. The Steelers, coming off a win, but they've been pretty up and down. Then they're at Philadelphia, at Green Bay, Cleveland at home, Green Bay at home. Green Bay 2 out of 3 weeks. I hate when the schedules do that. At San Francisco, Detroit at home. I think you need to win 11 games to make the postseason in the NFC. You did last year. Green Bay was the last seed. They won 11 games. The Bears would need to go 4-3 in their remaining games to win 11 games. Do you, Mike Valentine, think the Bears win the NFC North?
No, there's no way. Yes, I get it, but this is what the NFL wants. I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this one, but this is what they have shown us time and time again. This is what they want. So when you get a team that has not played well the season before, they give them a really weak schedule. And then when they win everything, everybody thinks they're the next coming of Christ on the NFL field. And that's just not the case. I mean,
that's why they're acting. That's the way they're acting. Every show is talking about it. Like, oh, wait, look at them. They're in first place. They must be really good. One team out of 10 with a winning record.
Yeah, it's not my thing. It's certainly not where I think they should be. They're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. Okay, I got it. That's what they're supposed to do, right? 100% agree with that. But at the same point, it's like you just said, they've not beat anybody good. And the only team they have gone up against that was good, they got absolutely trounced by. That's not impressive to me. There's another team that has we're going to do our surprises and our disappointments here in just a little bit in this football segment. And I'm going to mention one of those teams that has the same kind of schedule that the Bears do, but there's a big difference in what they're doing and what the Bears are doing. And that's why they're going to be my surprise team. So I won't give that away right at the moment, but just because the Bears are beating a bunch of lowly teams, don't tout them and say they're great all of a sudden, because they're not.
Yeah, one of the things you get with last place schedule is you get Saints, you get Raiders. That's on their schedule. When they're playing the Raiders, Packers are playing the Broncos, Vikings are playing the Chargers, Lions are playing the Chiefs. That's and they beat the Raiders by 1 point, only 1 point. So not looking like a great win now if you watched the game last night.
No.
Okay, so you do not think they'll win the NFC North. Do you think they'll get, like I said, they have to go 4-3 to win 11 games. Do you think they'll get to 11-6 and make the postseason?
This one's a little more interesting. I'm not sure if it's, it probably is going to take 11 wins, because there's, you got Green Bay in that division. You've got the Detroit in that division.
7 teams make the playoffs. 3 teams in the AFC West have 7 wins or more.
I know, but I don't.
You got to win 11, I think.
Right, and that's going to make it really hard for that third team to get in. And I think that third team's going to be Chicago. I'm going to say no.
You say they're not going to make it.
They're going to be right down to the last game, so their fans are going to be all hyped up about it. But once again, just like what usually happens in Chicago, they're going to let their fans down before the season ends.
People went ballistic earlier. I forgot to mention this. I'd already sent you the notes on X when I can't remember who it was, gave the Bears a 14% chance of winning the division, lower than Detroit or Green Bay, even though they're in first place, and all their fans were like so mad. But the people doing that, they know what they're talking about. So, okay, last question for you. So it's not going to be the Bears, and obviously it's not going to be. I know you're not going to say the Vikings. Who wins the NFC North right now, if you had to predict?
I don't think this is too hard. After what your Packers have done over the past few weeks, I'm not sure how much I trust them. I've really had some conversations with a lot of people who have seen your videos, and a lot of people either firmly disagree with you or firmly agree with you as far as the Matt LaFleur firing goes. Yeah, I mean, there's no in between. It's kind of like, people, I say this all the time, there's no in between on me. People either love me or hate me because of I'm just so blunt with people and everything else. And I've come up with a new saying, and I really like this one. I'm going to debut it right here on the Lights Out Sports podcast. Valentine is not for everyone. All right, that's my new one. I like it.
A lot of people don't like you, apparently. A lot of people, yeah.
And guess what? I don't care.
I know you don't.
And that's what we won't go into all of that. But anyway, I think Detroit's going to win. I'm going to give Detroit this division.
Okay.
But I do think it'll come down to the final week of the season. I don't know what everybody's schedules are. I should have looked it up real quick before I got on here. I know Detroit has a tougher schedule. At least I believe so than what Green Bay does.
They're a first place schedule. So Detroit is playing a much tougher schedule in Chicago. They finished they're at Chicago to end the year. Green Bay is at Minnesota. That's at least the last week.
Well, maybe it won't come down to that last week, because both those are winnable games. So
no, but it could come down to like who wins and who doesn't. Here's what I'll say: the winner of the Thanksgiving game will win the division. Green Bay at Detroit. It's an early game on Thanksgiving. I'm predicting the winner of that game wins the NFC North.
I would love to do a watch party with you on that day, but my wife would absolutely shoot me if I would be stuck in this room instead of out there with the family on Thanksgiving. So
it's just me. I'll do it. I'm just going to be me.
Hey, if you can get somebody else to go with you, have at it, buddy. But
so people are like, what? I get invited. I get invited places. I'm going back home for Christmas, not going for Thanksgiving. People have invited me, but I was like, I got to work. I got to watch football for my channel, so I have to work. I have to watch 3 games. So I can't be invited elsewhere. And I like chicken more than turkey, so I'm going to cook chicken.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll send you a care package of desserts before it's all said and done. So
I don't eat sugar. Are you kidding? Okay. Now,
is that how
my
you have
poll.
such gorgeous hair? Is it because you don't eat sugar?
I don't eat sugar. I don't like sweets. They're gross.
You really don't?
No, I really don't. I don't have a
You'd
sweet
rather
tooth at
have
all.
battle bites, right?
I don't even drink
Jerky.
juice. It's too much sugar. I will never eat dessert. I don't eat cookies, cake, ice cream, none of that. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to figure out another thing to get you for Christmas then, because that's what I was going to do. But that's okay, fine. I guess I'll just, you know what I'll do? I'll send you a bunch of samples of Battle Bites. That's what I'll do. The jerky.
Send me some
that
Battle
is,
Bites.
yeah.
Also send me coffee.
And coffee.
Cheese loves coffee.
Cheese
loves coffee so much, he went in the third person. Okay.
Coffee goes good with cheese.
It does. On my X account, I asked a question 2 days ago. Poll's still going, so you can check it out at Football Cheese, football and then CHEEZ. Who is the best quarterback in the NFC North? And the results are in. So we had 52 people vote. JJ McCarthy, Vikings, 0%. Nobody voted for JJ McCarthy. No one should. No one should. It's been bad.
I guess his mom doesn't listen to your channel. We know that now.
No, apparently not. In third place, Caleb Williams, 15.4%. No one should have picked that as well. But, there's some Bears trolls. I'm sure I get DMs from Bears fans at least once a week. They hate me. In second place, that I would have voted for, obviously. I'm sure you voted for someone different. In second place, Jordan Love has 36.5% of the vote. And in first place, according to the poll, Jared Goff, 48.1%. So almost half the people thought Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the NFC North. So yeah, people have spoken. Jared Goff. Did you vote for Goff? Was that who you would pick?
I did vote for Goff on your poll.
Okay.
And here's why. It's not necessarily how great Goff is. It is. I watched Jordan Love over the past couple of weeks pretty intently. Because you're kind of getting me into this a little bit with your Packer fandom, and I'm a Cardinals and a Bengals fan, so I'm just going to start working every Sunday. He makes some great throws. He is really good. You said this on your channel, and I 100% agree with you. He seems to be great at where to place the contested throw, so that only his receiver can get it and it won't be intercepted. That is the thing that Jordan Love is fantastic at.
Mm-hmm.
But he also hangs on to the ball too long, in my estimation, especially if he's got like an open route in the center open. Like when the camera shows it from behind him, you can see the receiver coming over the middle, and he wants to throw it, and then then all of a sudden he'll scramble. So I think if he would just learn to pull the trigger a little faster, then I would put him at tops of this division. But because he seems to second guess himself a lot. I don't know if it's because he doesn't think he has the talent, or if he thinks his receivers don't have the talent, or exactly what it is, but he seems to second guess himself a lot. So that's why I put Jordan Love at second and the Detroit quarterback on first on your poll.
I get that. Some games he absolutely does that. There's no doubt about it. So games.
I don't know what those symbols are. I can't. Okay.
Games.
I'm old. I can't see them.
Some games he anticipates better, but I think it's more about not trusting the offensive line and also worried about not throwing interceptions. I think sometimes he does that. Oh, I have a guy coming open, but he's just, but what if that defender jumps it? And I think he gets in his head sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I understand, but the game he played this past week, he was tremendous. He was making all the right reads. He was moving out of the pocket when he should. He looked more confident, looked more poised. The last 2 weeks he hadn't, and I was really impressed, and gives me hope going forward. And that's why I made the poll. Okay. Next topic, we have to talk about this. This will be a short topic. Bengals wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase. You know I was going to have to talk about this. He was suspended 1 game for spitting on Steelers defensive back Jalen Ramsey, unless the appeal overturns it. He did appeal it. Ramsey was ejected because he threw a punch after he was spit on. Do you think this is the correct punishment for Chase, a 1-game suspension?
So I'm going to break this down a little bit, and I'm going to kind of include you on this. Do you think Chase spit on him? Because there's a couple angles where it looks like maybe he did, and but it's not definitive in my estimation. Do you think he really spit on him?
Yes, I do. I think he spit. You could see. I watched a slow motion video someone put on X. You see the spit come out. So I do.
Okay.
Assuming he did. Let's just assume he did.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. Let's assume he did.
Do you think a 1-game punishment is the right call?
No, I think he should be suspended more than 1 game. To be honest. Okay. You're going to ask me another question in a moment, and I'll save some of this for that question. But it's insulting. Being spit on is truly insulting, and it would rile me up too. Again, I'll talk about this a little more in the next question, but I think he should get like a 3-game suspension, to be honest. But I also want to be able to prove that he did it in order to get that 3-game suspension. He said that he didn't. Ramsey said that he did, but I mean, that's how each of them are going to talk. I'm not going to say Jalen Ramsey deserves it, but Jalen Ramsey mouths a lot, but so does Chase.
Yeah.
So
Jalen Ramsey talks as much trash as probably anyone in the NFL. But Chase should know that. He should know that. Mm-hmm. I mean, there have been times where someone spits just on the ground next to someone, but even so, I agree with you. If someone spits in your face, I would do at least 2 games. But maybe because it's only 1 game, because maybe it wasn't definitive, like you said. Mm-hmm. But the video I saw in slow motion, it looked like he did spit on him. So are you disappointed in Chase? You are a Bengals fan. Are you disappointed in him? Because he's one of the best players in the NFL.
He's one of the best players in the NFL. He's a second as far as yards reception, or no, he's third in yards reception right now behind Jackson Smith and Jigma. And believe it or not, Carl Pickens is number 2. That trade's working out really well for George.
Carl Slim Pickens, really great player for the Bengals back in the day.
We were talking about the Bengals, daggone it, and I got a Bengals poll question we're going to get to here in a second too that I put up. I'm going to be interested to ask you the question for. So, yes. I'm not going to say that I'm disappointed. I think he was just trying to play mind games with Jalen Rose, hoping that he was going to get kicked out, and that would kind of make a difference in the game. I think desperate players do desperate things in desperate times. And that game meant the world to the Bengals on Sunday. We talked about this last week where I said I wouldn't even have put Burrow in this open window thing until I'd have seen what they were going to do against Pittsburgh. And that's going to bring me to the poll question here in a second, because I personally don't think Joe Burrow should see the field for the rest of the season. But we'll look at that poll question here in a moment. As far as me being disappointed, I'm not disappointed in him, but he needs to be punished if he actually did it, though.
I agree. I have never had someone spit in my face, but I would be livid if someone did. And I probably would punch them. So I get Ramsey's reaction. My question for you, has anyone ever spat in your face?
Well, so I don't know how many people know what I do for a living. So I work for a corrections facility. And yeah, I've been spit on before by inmates and stuff like that. It's the only time that I really came like totally unglued. And if there hadn't been a few other officers there to keep me from doing what I wanted to do, honestly, I'd have probably lost my job that day. I was that livid. Like I tore the vest off. I was open that door right now because he spit on me from the other side of the door where I couldn't get.
Good thing he did, or you wouldn't have a job probably.
Yeah, probably so. I was livid, and this was probably 6 to 8 years ago, and there's a reason why you can only see me from the chin up on most of this, most of these pictures that we do on this podcast, because I was in much better shape then than I am now. We'll just put it that way. And I'd have done something that would have probably cost me my job. So being spit on is just insulting more than it is anything else.
I'm kind of a germaphobe, so yeah, I would freak out. Is it like the movies? Can you just put him in the hole whenever they do something bad? Just put him in the hole.
Well, he was already in the hole, so I can't put him in the second hole. So.
All right.
I was in that part of the prison, so that's
okay.
That's probably the other reason why I would have got in trouble, because that's kind of expected in that part of the prison. So I'm just supposed to take it and move on.
Gotcha.
Much easier said than done.
I hear you. Okay, let's
Well, can I do this poll question real quick while we're on the Bengals?
Yeah, the poll. Okay. Oh, absolutely.
All right. So I put this out there. It's got 18 hours left on it, so you can still go over to our X page. It's at All Gloves Off SM, which of course is sports media. So at All Gloves Off SM, and you can vote on this. The Bengals' Joe Burrow nor Trey Hendrickson should see the field the rest of the NFL season. True or false? Would you? Now I put Trey in there too, so it's both. Would you say that neither one of them should see the field for the rest of the season?
Where's the poll? Was it recently? I can't
I did it on right after the game on Sunday, and I made it 3 days long, so it's still got 18 hours.
Oh, I got to scroll down a bunch then. Okay.
Yeah, you got to scroll down quite a bit on our timeline. 1,663 people have seen it, and we've gotten 62 votes on it. What would you have voted for, Cheese? True or false on the Bengals' Joe Burrow nor Trey Hendrickson should see the field for the rest of this NFL season?
Okay. I did vote. Okay. No. Sideline them, lose as many games as possible, pick higher in the draft, trade back and reload this roster. No, look, you are 3-7. You are not making the postseason. Even if Burrow comes back, the best you could possibly do is 10-7. You have to win 7 straight. Even with Burrow, the defense stinks. So they're probably not going to win every game. So there's no reason to try to go, 8-9 or 7-10. And then you're not picking the top 10. And you're not getting a great player. So no, don't play him.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to talk about the draft picks here in a moment as to where everybody falls and everything, I believe, too. So the 62 people voted this way. They said false, that the Bengals should play either Burrow or Hendrickson. 30.6 people would play at least one of the two of them, and 69.4% said they would not play either one of them. So
they agreed with us. Okay.
They agreed with us. Yes.
Yes, we're going to talk about that right now, actually, like a similar situation.
Okay, let's do it.
Currently, the Titans have the first pick in the draft. They're the only team in the NFL with just one win. But the difference between the second pick currently and the 10th pick is just one game. Giants would pick second. They're 2-8. The Rams actually would pick 10th. I know the Rams are 8-2. But they have the Falcons pick, who are 3-7.
Mm-hmm.
They got their Falcons pick when they traded up for James Pierce Jr. in this past draft. You are a fan. We've talked about the Bengals, but and the Cardinals. You're a fan of those two teams. Both are currently picking in the top 10. Bengals hold the 8th pick. Cardinals hold the 9th pick if the season ended today. And what we just talked about, I believe, and I'm pretty sure you do, that if you are not a contender, if you don't have a chance to make the postseason, the worst thing for your franchise in any professional sport is to be around 500. Because you don't make the postseason and you don't pick high in the draft, so you're not going to get a great player. I think it was Mark Cuban who said it when he was the owner of the Mavericks. He said, if you go 500 every year, you're going to go 500 every year because you don't have the tools to make your roster better. You're picking in the middle of the draft. And I agree with that. So what say you with that?
Well, here's the thing, and we've talked about this a little bit before. And the Bengals, I'll talk about them for a second before I get to the Cardinals, but the Bengals have chosen to do this very deliberately. They chose to do defense in the draft and offense by signing their players and going to free agency and getting some players that way. They have not picked well, so their defense is terrible. I still think Mims has a chance to be at least a decent player, and there's a couple other ones. I saw some improvement in Knight in the last couple of games, and Shamir Stewart hasn't played, I don't think, very much this season, so we don't know about that.
He hasn't really done much when he has.
No, so that's I don't want to call it a bust because he's not played much, but it's just not been a good pick. They have consistently not been a good picking football team. So the first thing I'll say is if you don't pick well, I don't care where you pick at in the draft. I mean, that's the first thing. The Bengals have got to pick better. But I agree they should lose. They should not win more than 3 games. They should lose the rest of the games the rest of the season and stay at that 8, 9, 10 or so pick.
4 or 5 if they keep losing. You never know.
Right. Well, but I
That'd
don't
be
know if
great.
the teams. I don't know if the teams in front of them are gonna win anything. That's the other part of this scenario. And I think the Dolphins right now are the dumbest team in the world because they're trying to win, and all they're doing is they're going to make themselves pick 12 or 14 or 15 if they continue to win. And
that's what they did last year, and
yeah,
they didn't get a good player.
Right. You're going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dolphins. Stop it. That's stupid.
You had to get a Steelers one in there.
I did. I had to get a Steelers jab in there. And as far as the Cardinals go, I mean, you've said earlier that you don't think their coach, Jonathan Gannon's going to make it out of this season. I don't know about that. I think they're going to give him one more year because I think they're going to blame Kyler Murray for a lot of this and having to go to a backup quarterback and things of that nature. So the problem with them is this is not a good quarterback draft. And, you're the draft guru. You know that better than anybody. I don't really see I don't see more than 2 NFL-ready quarterbacks right now. There might be a couple other ones who can get developed, but I don't think there's more than a couple that can go right into an NFL team and make them better. So I'm not sure. I think the Cardinals should trade back.
I might push back on that. I think this is a better quarterback draft than you think. Much better than last year. Not nearly as good as 2024 because there's probably never been one that good.
No, I probably will never be again.
Yeah, some of them need development, but I think this is a pretty good quarterback draft. If the Cardinals are picking like 8th or 9th, yeah, you might have to trade up. There's no Joe Burrow, there's no Andrew Luck, so
right,
John
and
Elway.
that's the thing. I don't think I'm gonna.
Yeah, there's no stud number one obvious. There's not. Yeah, I mean, there's no one of those guys, but I still think it's a good quarterback draft, and you can get a possible franchise quarterback, but maybe not at pick 8, 9. They would have to move up.
Right, and that's the thing, right? I don't want to have to give up next year's first round pick and then move up in this year's pick and give up another second or another third or something like that and take the kid from Indiana and then he not be really good. Or take the kid, I would probably take Utah's quarterback, to be honest with you, if I'm doing that. But
I don't know if he's the best pro prospect. Devon Dampier is who you're talking about. Dante Moore. I don't know. Ty Simpson had a really bad game against Oklahoma. Norris Sellers, I don't think he's going to come out. But there's 3. I think Simpson, Mendoza, Dante Moore. I think they could all go in the top 5. And
but if you're the Cardinals, though, would you give up multiple draft picks to take a chance on one of those quarterbacks?
Let's see how they finish.
Okay.
Let's see how they finish. I probably would for Mendoza right now.
Interesting. Okay.
He would be my number 1 quarterback for the draft. I think Mel Kiper's is Dante Moore. But Mendoza, to me, would be number 1. I'd probably have Simpson 2nd, Dante Moore 3rd if I was doing my rankings right now. But, this is at this point last year, what the rankings were? It was Cam Moore, Shedeur Sanders by far ahead of everyone else. And Garrett Nussmeier, LSU, was the 3rd guy. And then he completely collapsed. And then this season, he hasn't really done well. So it can completely change. Jackson Dart was nowhere near right. He ended up going the first round. So, all right. Okay, you answered the next question. There you go. Okay. Well, okay, how about this? So let's say the Cardinals don't make a quarterback change and they decide to keep either Brissett or Murray. What position would you like to see them target in the top 10 of the draft?
I would have said receiver until Michael Wilson had the day that he had on Sunday. So Michael Wilson kind of gives me pass and is like, okay, can he really be a number 2 guy behind Marvin Harrison Jr.? He stepped up, but he's never had a game even close to that in his pro career. So it's still, there's always outliers like that. And I think that game is probably an outlier for him.
Probably.
I would like to see, and something, I kind of set this up earlier with our 5 Flamin' 5 and 5, because I think that rushing ends are a big thing in the NFL right now. And I believe Texas Tech, right? Texas Tech has a couple of the best ones. So I would love to see them either target defensive end that can get to the quarterback, or I would like to see them, if they don't believe in Michael Wilson. I mean, so let's say if they went out and got the ASU receiver, and they put Marvin Harrison and him on one on each side, and Trey McBride as the tight end, as well.
He plays a lot of slot. He's basically their slot receiver. He plays in the slot. He doesn't play in line. Yeah, he's a stud. Yeah.
The other thing I wouldn't mind them doing, especially because now, I don't know if you've seen it, but now DeMarcado is now out with an injury too. He is not going to play Sunday. So they're on like their 8th running back or something like that.
Is Bam Knight healthy?
He's like the only healthy one. So
oh, wow.
I would like to see them target a really good running back in the draft as well, but maybe not in the first round. I think they can wait to the 2nd or 3rd round to get a decent running back.
I'm going to throw a name out there that you should
go ahead.
To. That would be a great fit in Arizona. You mentioned edge rusher, and I was thinking Keldrick Falk, Auburn, absolute stud. Because Auburn hasn't been very good this year, no one's really talking about him, but he's a top 10 player in this draft, and he'd be a really good fit in Arizona. Michael Wilson, I had to look it up because he just kept catching the ball. Oh, I thought I had it pulled up. Okay, so he had 15 catches for 185 yards in the game, right?
Yeah.
He has 37 catches on the year. He has 22 catches in the first 9 games. He has a lot of, 3 for 29s, 1 for 11, 3 for 15, 2 for 16s, 15 for 185. We'll see. But yeah, that's crazy stat line. You just don't see that. So.
And I'm going to say this. I'm going to tease this for our either in our next week's show or maybe an extra show that we'll do sometime during the week. I have a trade where I think the Cardinals can trade their bust of a quarterback for another team's bust of a quarterback. Maybe they should do that and see if change of scenery for each one of them is better for the 2 teams involved. And I'll tell you what those 2 quarterbacks should be next week.
Stay tuned for that. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Last thing for the NFL segment. Looking at the NFL standings, I want you to go to first. So we don't do the same one because I have a couple written down.
Okay.
So we're looking at the NFL standings. We're going to do what team was the biggest disappointment and what is the most pleasant surprise. So we'll start with, we'll end positive. We'll start with disappointment. What team would you say in NFL is the biggest disappointment according to Mike Valentine?
Well, both of these teams for me are going to reside in the AFC.
Okay.
One of them is going to be the AFC South, and the other one's going to be the AFC East. So my disappointment is the 5-5 Houston Texans. Even though they've got some positive stats out here, you know me, I'm the stat guy. So they have scored 57 more points than they have allowed. I know what you're going to say. Their offensive line is terrible, and they are. But they are also at 5-5. The Jacksonville 6-4, Indianapolis is 8-2, and I'm not going to pick Indy as my surprise team, but I could. And they're 3-1 in that division with Jacksonville and Indianapolis ahead of them. They've won their last 2 games, so I think they're going to probably give Jacksonville at least a run. I don't know if they'll give Indianapolis a run, but they'll at least give Jacksonville a run for the 2nd place in the AFC South. But I'm still disappointed. I thought you could pencil them in as the champion of the AFC South, and there was nobody going to be even close to them, and there are 2 teams above them right now.
Yeah, Houston, the offensive line's a problem. It's just a disaster. And they've had games where they couldn't score. And yeah, they're 3-1 in the division, but 2 of those wins were Titans. They're 1-1 against the Jaguars and Colts. Actually they haven't played the Colts yet. I think they're 1-1 against the Jaguars.
Yes, they're 1-1 against the Jags. Have not played.
They haven't even played the Colts yet. So
no.
So they're 5-5 and they haven't even played the Colts yet. Yeah.
Right. Well,
very unlikely to make postseason.
I know that you already said you can't stand it because we talked about this with the Bears and the Packers, right? The Bears and the Packers, they play one week and then they play somebody else and they turn around and play each other again the following week. And I know you don't like that, but what happens if Houston all of a sudden beats Indianapolis twice? Now we've got a different division on our hands. So
they're not going to.
It's intriguing.
I don't see
Well, it
that
depends.
happening.
I mean, I know C.J.
Yeah.
Stroud is not going to play Thursday. They have the Thursday night game. He's
And they
already
have to
been
play
ruled
Buffalo.
out.
So they have to play Buffalo, the Colts twice. That's just 3 of their 7 remaining games. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, here.
They play a first place schedule. See, the Colts don't. That's, they won the division last year. Nope, you're going to
Right,
pull
so
it
they
up.
have to do that. Let's see.
When
Here.
you
I'm
said
looking at the
AFC, I
rest
was
of their
happy because
schedule.
my disappointing teams in the. Oh, you have one more. You said an AFC East team.
Well, that's going to be my disappointment. Is the other team? I've got their schedule pulled up. So they play Buffalo, then they play the Colts next, and then Kansas City. So that's a pretty daunting 3-game slide right there. And it's in Texas, in Indianapolis, in Kansas City, and then Houston is visited by the Cardinals, then the Raiders, then the Chargers, and they finish out the season playing the Colts for the second time. So
that's brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. You said disappointment. You have 2 disappointment teams then.
No, I just have the one. I have one disappointment and one surprise.
Oh, okay. The surprise is the AFC East team.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you had 2. Okay, I was like AFC East. Yeah, you can find some disappointment teams in the AFC East for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you said AFC because my disappointing team is an NFC team. I was between 2, and they're 2 that I really thought would have winning records. I picked one of them to make the playoffs. I'm not going to say that team because it's a team you like. I didn't want to keep rubbing the wound.
It's okay.
But yeah, so yeah.
Most teams wouldn't be able to make the playoffs without their starting quarterback, so it's okay, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Arizona Cardinals would go 10-7. I really did. But I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. They're 3-7. They went all in. They needed pass rush. It was a disaster. They're like the Texans with offensive line as far as pass rush. They have not had anyone with double-digit sacks since John Abraham, and he's been retired a long time. So they drafted Jalen Walker, great pick, traded back up for James Pierce, gave it their first-round pick to get 2 speed pass rushers. And you're thinking, okay, good offensive line. Michael Penix looked good at the end of the year. They thought they were a contender. And you have Bijan Robinson, one of the best running backs in the NFL. They still don't give him the ball enough. They're negative 44 point differential. The Atlanta Falcons, and they beat Buffalo. They beat the Bills. But they have lost to the Panthers twice. I thought the Atlanta Falcons, I don't think I picked them to make the postseason, but I thought they were a 9 or 10 win team. They have talent on that roster. I thought their defense would be one of the best in the NFL. Now they added those edge rushers. So disappointed in them. So yeah, Atlanta Falcons 3-7. What a disaster. Okay. Well, it was negative. We're going to end positive, and then let's do that. We'll do a lights out list. Okay. Who has been your most pleasant surprise? Someone in the AFC East. So now I know who it is because the other 3 have been somewhat disappointing. Okay.
Yeah, they're 9-2. They have a plus 86 point differential. They are 5-0 away from their home stadium. They're 3-0 in the division. They have won 8 straight games. They are the very well coached, and I think that's what's made the big difference, New England Patriots. They are my surprise team. Now, we talked about this earlier when we talked about Chicago, right? New England also played a last place schedule.
It helps. It definitely helps. Yeah.
Yes, it does help. And so they lost to the Raiders in the beginning, right? And then they beat the Dolphins. The Steelers beat them. Then they went on their big spree where they beat the Panthers, they beat the Bills, they beat the Saints, they beat the Titans, they beat the Browns, they beat the Falcons. And then they've had a couple of pretty impressive wins in there where they beat Tampa Bay. They also beat Buffalo in there. So their remaining schedule is this Sunday. They are at Cincinnati. The week after that, the Giants come in and play them. Then they have their bye. And then Buffalo comes to New England. And then they go to Baltimore, the Jets, and the Dolphins. So they've really only got 2 tough games, in my opinion, which is, of course, their second meeting with Buffalo. And then they play the Ravens as well. So I think they're set up pretty well. And I'm really happy for it because I like Vrabel and I like what this team is doing. They don't have a whole lot of superstars on that team, but they're still winning. I love it.
Well, I tell you what, Trevion Henderson looked like a superstar on Thursday night.
Yeah.
I was against him in fantasy. I did not win. When you're down like 37-0 after one game, he was so good. And I've been talking about this. I've talked to him on my channel multiple times. Give him more carries. Like Ramondre Stevenson got hurt. It took that because Ramondre Stevenson fumbles like every other play. I've been talking about it. Give Trevion Henderson more carries. Finally, they did. Yeah, New England, I don't remember what you said, but I had them under 8.5. I had them when we did our over-under show. I had them under. I did not think they'd be this good, but I didn't say them. And I didn't say the Colts because we should have seen the Colts coming because the Colts have a great roster. Once again, I'm going to go in the NFC, my most pleasant surprise. Now, this team did not look good this past week. They lost their quarterback, just had an awful game, but I thought Seattle was a 6 or 7 win team, maybe 8. I thought they would be last in the NFC West. The Seahawks, they've gotten good pass rush. They have a good defense. They have a good offense. The offensive line looks better. Kennard Walker's really good. And Darnold, except for the last game, it's like Jared Goff and Sam Darnold have 2 or 3 awful games a year. Otherwise, they're great. But Sam Darnold, besides a horrible game against the Rams, I just realized that he was awful against the Rams in the playoffs for the Vikings last year. But anyway, maybe you just can't play the Rams. But the Seattle Seahawks are 7-3. Good offense, good defense. Jackson Smith, Nick Jigba, who you mentioned earlier, is incredible. The Seahawks, they've been much better than I expected. What was going on there? You had a lot going on.
Yeah, I was moving some stuff around over here. So
okay.
Yeah.
Then you got quiet. I'm like, I'm done talking.
I forgot I had the mic muted, and I was like, "Daggone it!"
I honestly like was about to stop, and then I kept going because you were moving around. I kept trying to talk more. So
that's all right. That's all right.
But I'm done.
All right, so we've got that. Now it's time for our lights out list, of course. So you got anything else you want to add to the football segment before we go to the lights out, buddy?
No, we're good.
Okay. So as always, our lights out list. We need a graphic for that. I'm gonna get our buddy from the Red Hot Reds podcast. I can't even remember his name right at the moment. Gosh, I'm getting old. It's getting dark over here.
Maybe Ricky.
There you go, Ricky Logan.
Maybe,
that's it.
Maybe.
There you go. Thanks, Chiefs. I appreciate you saving me there. We need a graphic for this lights out list. It's gonna become a thing here. So it's our version of the top 10. And what we're going to do today, ladies and gentlemen, is people who we think actually have the best shot at winning the college football playoff. So without further ado, let's go with our lights out list. All right, here we go, guys. Lights out list time. It's one of the best times on this entire show. It's what a lot of people tune in for. And we've got 70 or so people with us live right now. We are very glad that all of you are here with us. Of course, you can see the sponsor, Battle Bites, down there in the corner. Make sure you go over to their website and use the code ALLGLOVESOFF10 for 10% off of your order with Battle Bites. And they give 10% of their profits to the Wounded Warrior Foundation. Great things that both of those places are doing. You know, we love our veterans, we love our first responders, and we love us some Battle Bites. So go over there and grab some of that. All right, Cheese, are you going first or am I going first, buddy?
All right. Before I'll let you pick, but so I think our list, every time I think our lists are going to be same, they're going to be different. I just know they're going to be crazy different. I went, when I did this list, where I think they may be seated. I went with where I think they'd be seated, and that gives them an advantage. Not necessarily the best 10 teams in the country. I tried to think of where I think they'll be seated in the playoff, and that's how I did my list. I don't know. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
It makes no difference to me, but I did not do what you did. I really tried to look at the 10 best teams, because the way I looked at it was if they're the best team, then it doesn't matter where they're seated. So that's kind of how I looked at it. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure that our list will be relatively different. It'll be interesting once we get to the top three, because I think maybe our top three will be pretty much the same. But 10 to 4, I think, are going to be a little different. So, you know what? I'll start everything off.
Okay.
I'm going to give them number 10 because of what they did this weekend. And that means they have 3 wins of currently ranked 25 teams right now. And that is the Oklahoma Sooners. Because of what they did to Alabama over the weekend, I put them as my 10th best team to win the college playoff. Where'd you start at, Cheese?
If our lists are exactly the same, I'm playing the lottery tomorrow.
Okay.
More on them right now. I have number 10, Oklahoma. They have a good
More
defense.
on them right now.
Yeah, John Mateer's been inconsistent at quarterback. He's been hurt. So I don't love their offense, but their defense has been really good all year. They forced 3 turnovers against Alabama. And anytime you can win at Alabama, you can beat anyone if you play your best game. They haven't always played their best, and they won at Tennessee as well. So got to give them credit. So yeah, number 10, even though they're probably going to be on the road to start, I have Oklahoma.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, as we do these lists here, let's do some of this out of the way. Let's look at our X accounts. Of course, Cheese is at Football Cheese, and you can follow us, All Gloves Off SM on X. So we are looking at the top 10 teams that we think can win the college football playoff. I did Oklahoma at number 10. Number 9, honestly, more because of their coach than anything else. I like Lane Kiffin. I think he's done a great job there with this team. So I put Ole Miss at number 9. Oklahoma 10, Ole Miss at 9. Cheese, who do you have at 9?
More on them later.
Okay. So
my
it's
number
going to be at least a little different.
Yeah, I'll be a little different. It's not too much later. My number 9 is Notre Dame. They lost their first 2 games against Miami and A&M, like a 41-40 game. You know, those losses, 2 top 15 teams. So, not bad. But Notre Dame's just been playing a lot better. Because they have 2 losses, I don't know if they'll be a top 8 seed. So they'll probably, I think they're a 9 or 10 seed. So they'll probably have to go on the road, or I'd have them higher. But even though they're playing great, I have Notre Dame at number 9.
All right. So as it's telling you at the bottom, we do have the live chat. You can click on the comment section. You can add to this right now. Tell us how crazy we are, where we're ranking these teams. Again, these are the top 10 teams. This is our lights out list, and it's the top 10 teams that we think can win the college football playoff. So I had Oklahoma, I've got Ole Miss, and because this team does not have any wins against any top 10 opponent, or excuse me, top 25 opponent, I started them out. But that's not true because they beat Indiana, right? I think, yeah.
Nobody beat Indiana. Nobody has beaten Indiana this year.
That's right. They, So Oregon is my number 8 team. I'm stumbling all over this here, so I'll just tell you who the 8 team is. For a second, I was thinking, oh, wait, they beat Indiana, but no, they didn't. So they don't have any wins over anyone in the top 25 that's ranked right now. So I had them a lot higher when I started doing this list, and I just kept dropping them going, nope, that team's better. Nope, I think that team's better. Or Oregon's just not quite proven themselves. And, I know that their quarterback is even in the Heisman conversation, but he's really not impressed me. Mr. Moore has not impressed me a whole lot. So
yeah,
I've got Oregon at number 8.
More on them later.
Okay.
And I'll explain why I have Ole Miss and Oregon higher than you. Yeah, like you're doing. See, we always do the top 10 differently. We always think of it differently. Sometimes you look up stats, and I just do the eye test, and I did seeding, and I'll get to that. My number 8 team, you probably have them higher, is Texas Tech. They've looked really good. They had one really bad game against Arizona State. They have a really good defense, really good defensive line. The reason I don't have them higher is because they're probably getting a bye, probably going to be the 3 seed. And the bye was the top 4 seeds all lost last year because the 3-week layoff, or I'd have them higher. But yeah, 8 Texas Tech.
I do think that teams are going to adjust to that. You make that a really good point in both of the latest videos that you did, one on the SEC 2 days ago and one on the Big Ten that you just released today. Go over to Football with Cheese on YouTube and be able to see that. Both of those videos are fantastic. Both of them are under 13 minutes apiece. So, yeah, on your way to work, listen to them in the morning. So, add that to your
Yes.
daily commute.
Or the afternoon or the evening. You can listen anytime.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be in the morning, sir?
Yeah, when you crack open a beer in the morning, feel free to listen to me.
Okay. You're trying to get people in trouble right now.
Yeah.
So for me,
Just
Oklahoma.
assuming our viewers are drunk all the time.
Well, I mean, just because they listen to your channel doesn't mean they're drunk all the time, sir. That's not a correlation, sir. All right. Oklahoma for me, Ole Miss, Oregon. Calm down over there. You're going to mess that hair up. And then my number 7 team, you've already mentioned. I put them there. And again, I started them out a little higher too, but the top 3 teams are really easy for me, and then these ones in the middle are kind of interchangeable depending on how they're going to finish the season and stuff like that.
I agree.
Because they lost their first 2 games, I dropped Notre Dame to number 7. I do think they have the best running back in the country right now, and I do think they have one of the best two-headed monsters with those running backs in the country. Oh, we got a comment. I see that. I'll put that comment up here in just a second. For me, it's Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Oregon, and number 7, Notre Dame. Who was your number 7 as we look at this comment, Cheese?
Okay, my number 7. This team would have been wine glasses. Yeah, I like one. My number 7 is a team that would have been higher. And I think they could absolutely win it. I think they can beat anyone. They won at Georgia. That's so hard to do. But I have them higher, but they lost this week, so they probably are going to have to go on the road. I think they're going to make the playoff. They're going to probably have to go on the road first round or to have them higher. But Alabama, they'll believe in them. They just played horrible against Oklahoma, played horrible against Florida State. They look really good the rest of their games. So, yeah, it probably would have been. They would have been top 5 if not for losing. But yeah, number 7, Alabama.
All right. So more on them later. I believe in them more than Cheese does.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So my number 6 team, you've already mentioned as well. I know you're looking at seedings. I'm looking at overall teams. You said what I'm going to say. They have a fantastic defense. And we have said that, defense wins championships. So I had them at 5 at first, and I flip-flopped my 5 and 6 right before we went on the air. So I put Texas Tech at number 6. I believe they have the best edge rushers. I believe they have probably the best defense in the league. But I'm not sure about some of the other points in their team. So because of that, I put Texas Tech at 6.
David Bailey, one of the best edge rushers in the country. I don't know if anyone's thinking he could go top 10, but I think he could. I think David Bailey, edge rusher, Texas Tech, could go top 10. He's absolute stud. It's a really good edge rusher draft. If you need an edge rusher, this is the draft for you. Okay, we're number 6, right? All right.
Yes, we are.
You mentioned this. I have Ole Miss at number 6. Ole Miss, they only have 1 loss. They've had some games where they didn't look impressive. They've won some close ones. The reason I have them this high, and I get why you don't, is because they're probably going to be the 7th or 8th seed. And the 7th and 8th seed, those teams made the finals last year. Those were the 2 teams that made the college football playoff final. Notre Dame was 7, Ohio State was 8. You get a home game, and then you play a team that's been sitting for 3 weeks, and you don't play the best team. If you're 8 seed, you would, but 7 seed, you would play the number 2 seed. So, Ole Miss, number 6.
All right. So you've got Ole Miss at number 6. Let me give you the bottom 5 before we get into my top 5. So it's Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas Tech. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember as well, not only are we here on YouTube, or if you're watching us on Facebook right now, or maybe you're watching us on X, you can watch us on audio-only platforms, 2 of them, and we're trying to get into a couple more of these. We'll announce them as we get them. Spotify and Apple Music. We are available on both of those. Our podcast, Lights Out Sports, is on there, and then everything on All Gloves Off Sports Media, including the Red Hot Reds podcast, is there for your listening enjoyment as well. So I said I switched 5 and 6. Some of you are probably going to wonder why I have this team at number 5, because in the AP poll, they're number 2. I'm not sure if I believe in Indiana yet. So I have, yes, I see the face. I have Indiana at number 5. Just because. Now, here's what I want you guys to do. And I know why Cheese is looking at me like I'm nuts right now, but hopefully he doesn't give this away, that he just did his Big Ten thing over on his YouTube channel. The loser of the Big Ten title game might be in the best spot of anyone for the national title. He'll explain that on the channel. It makes a ton of sense. But I just don't believe in them yet. I think if they have to play someone like a Notre Dame or someone like a Texas Tech or possibly even an Oregon somewhere along these playoffs, I don't know if Indiana can beat them. I just don't trust them yet. So I put Indiana at number 5.
I disagree. I think they could beat all those teams. They'll be favored against those teams. They won at Oregon 30-20 earlier this year. And I love Mendoza. He was our Heisman pick. More on them later, by the way. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You're the first person I know that's like really like down on Indiana. Okay. Let's recap. Number 10, Oklahoma. 9, Notre Dame. 8, Texas Tech. 7, Alabama. 6, Ole Miss. Number 5, I have Oregon Ducks. You had them lower. I get it. They have not necessarily looked great the last few weeks. Only loss was to, like I said, Indiana at home. But once again, just like Ole Miss, they're going to probably be the 7th or 8th seed. That is a great seed. And you get a home game, and then you get a team that's been sitting. And Oregon, despite not playing great, they still have a lot of talent. A lot of pro talent in that roster. So, number 5, Oregon.
You know, I've got breaking news for you here. I know this is going to be big for you, but okay. The Arizona Cardinals are going to win the rest of their games because they're making a change at punter. They released punter Pat O'Donnell today, so you know because they're going to get a new punter.
Former Packer.
That is correct. So there you go. So with Indiana was
punter,
my number.
With great punter comes great responsibility.
Oh, yes, Danielson. Okay, or Yoda, whoever said that, I don't know.
That was Spider-Man, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Whew. Maybe I should.
You don't watch a lot of movies, do you, Mike?
No, sir. If it's not a sport, I won't watch it. So, I mean, I have a few shows that I watch with my wife, but other than that, there's, yeah. I'm trying to remember the last time I've been to the movies. But you know what? Comment, guys. What's the last movie you saw? Now, wait, not at home. What's the last movie you saw in a theater? I got to think on this one.
It was the Fantastic Four a few months ago.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I've not been to the theater in probably years. So I think the last thing that I saw was the Hitman's Bodyguard 2, I believe, was the last movie I saw in the theater. So it's been a while.
Oh, and that sucked.
It wasn't bad. I didn't think it was
that bad. The first one
was
good.
The first one was really good. The first one was better, obviously, but I didn't think the second one was that bad. All right, so like I said, we got 65 people with us live right now. A couple of you at least can tell us what the last movie you saw before at the theater. So, yes. My number 4, I believe in them a lot more than I do Indiana. And just because they got beat this weekend doesn't mean that they're not going to win the college football playoff. I put Alabama at number 4. I just like this program. I'm not real hip on their coach, but their quarterback is playing a lot better. They've got some really big weapons out there, and I think they could do it before it's all said and done. So I put Alabama at number 4.
Yeah, Kalen DeBoer did get in the finals 2 years ago. Didn't win. Michigan pretty much owned them, but he did get the team in the finals, so you got to give him that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. The thing with Alabama...
It's with James Franklin, but, hey.
Huh?
I said James Franklin got his team into the playoffs not too long ago either, and you saw what happened to him. But
like I said with Alabama, it's the seeding that worries me. It's the seeding that they're going to have to probably go on the road at Oregon, someone like that. Well, look at these potential matchups, Mike. Alabama at Oregon, right? Mm-hmm. Notre Dame at Ole Miss. Oh my God, I want to see that. I want to see that.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I'll tell you here in a second after you make your pick. The new projected bracket is out, by the way. I have it right here in front of me.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'll tell you in just a second.
My number 4 is Texas A&M. They should have lost South Carolina. They played awful in the first half. I think they were down 30-3. 130-130. South Carolina laid a brick. But A&M has looked so good at times, but they've also looked vulnerable in some games. But they found a way to win. I just couldn't put in my top 3 because just of inconsistent play. But they're a very talented team. So number 4, Texas A&M.
All right. Let me give you the college football playoff bracket here. There's a couple of surprises here for me. So Tulane is number 12. They get in, and they have to play. Yeah, now they've got the Green Wave here
over North Texas. That's crazy.
Yeah, Tulane at 12, and they will play the 5th-seeded Texas Tech. 11 seed is the U. Believe it or not, Miami is in at number 11, and they will play the 6th seed Ole Miss.
Miami's not even playing for the ACC title. They shouldn't be. That's great.
I didn't say I agreed with it. I'm just reading the stuff off here.
Okay.
So
right, I'll just let you go.
Number 10 is Alabama, and they will play the 7th ranked Oregon Ducks. Number 9 is Notre Dame. They'll play the 8th seeded University of Oklahoma. So they OU is 8. So then the top 4 teams that get the byes would be Ohio State is number 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, Georgia 4. So that means that the winner of Notre Dame, Iowa would play Ohio State. That means the winner of Alabama, Oregon would then have to play Indiana. And it means the winner of Miami, Ole Miss would play Texas A&M. And the winner of Tulane and Texas Tech would play Georgia. So that's how it all goes out.
I thought you have to be conference champion to be top 4 seed. They changed that rule? Because then you can't. Because then Indiana, and you can't have 2 Big Ten and 2 SEC unless they change the rule.
Be interesting. I don't know. But this is the latest projected, and it says projected college football bracket. It's from Fox College Football's account. So I went right to their account to get everything. So it's not like it's from some crazy person's account that doesn't know what they're doing. Maybe Fox doesn't either. So my top 3. Here is the number 3 team. You've already mentioned them. I really like what they're doing. They are currently ranked number 3 in the poll. That is Texas A&M. Undefeated for a reason, have been really, really good. Came back this weekend. Okay. Showed a lot of moxie in doing so. And so I left them right there at number 3.
Okay, they changed the rule. I didn't even know this. It says you do not have to be a conference champion to be a top 4 seed in the college football playoff. The top seeds are now awarded the 4 highest ranked teams overall, regardless of conference championship status, and they receive a first round bye. So that makes sense now. So I did not know that. Yeah. I did not know that changed the rule. That changes everything. So the loser of Ohio State, Indiana is going to still be a top 4 seed if they're both undefeated. They should.
Well, they won't both be on. Well,
oh, I got a video coming about that. I did not know they changed the rule. I'm glad they did because Boise State should not have been the 3 seed. They should not have been the 3 seed last year. So that's interesting. So that changes everything. You still want to be in the 5 to 8 range. I still believe that. That changes everything.
You're giving a lot away on your videos, man. Don't give it away too much. But
okay. My number 3 is Georgia Bulldogs. I was not high on Georgia to start the year. I actually had Tennessee in the college football playoff. We did the predictions. Mm-hmm. I did not have Georgia. I thought they were a 9-3 team. I didn't believe in Gunnar Stockton. They have really come on. The only losses to Alabama at home, but early in the year they weren't looking good. But Georgia, number 3.
All right, so I have Georgia at number 2. And the reason why I bumped them up to 2 and I knocked Texas A&M and Alabama and Indiana way down was because they have 4. They have 4 wins against top 25 opponents that are, currently in the top 25. So again, I looked at it as who are the best teams, not necessarily the seeding or anything like that. So I thought, if it's me, I put Georgia at number 2 in the rankings right now. I would put them above Texas A&M, and I would put them above Indiana, even though Indiana is undefeated. So people can say what they want on X, and maybe we'll AI cut this part up and put it out there. But that's where I'm at right at the moment. I would put Georgia at number 2.
Georgia is very likely not to play in the SEC title game. If they don't now, if this rule I just Googled is correct, then they're probably going to be a top 4 seed. Like, honestly, they need to get rid of conference championship games. But that is a video for another day. My number 2 is Indiana.
Too much money.
But no one cares about it anymore. It's all about.
But they're all sponsored by this person and sponsored by that, and he gets money. And
well, you saw my video talking about it. He could just get injuries. Georgia, it might be Alabama, Texas A&M in that title game. Georgia fans should be happy because you're not risking injury. You're not playing in that game. So, conference championship games, it's almost like you don't want to play in it. Ohio State, they helped them that they didn't play in the game.
Now, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying the conference games are never going to go away. That's all I said. Conference championship games are never going to go away. I'm
going to mention that in the video, and I'll give you a shout out.
Okay.
I'd shut you out all the time. Anyway.
I know you do. I watch them all.
Yeah.
Little Lights Out Sports Podcast. Me and Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah. Mike and I. Number 2, Indiana.
Indy.
I'm higher in Indiana than Mike. I think they're really good. I love their quarterback. They almost lost to Penn State. Penn State still has talent, but Indiana won that in Oregon. They have a great shot to win it all. Indiana, number 2.
All right, Indiana is at number 2, of course. And then I want to plug one more thing for us here. You can go to our YouTube channel at All Gloves Off Sports Media on YouTube. You can see this show. You can see Cheese's show, Football with Cheese. You can also see the Red Hot Reds podcast. And if you are watching us and you're part of a podcast and you would like to be part of a great sports media company like All Gloves Off Sports Media, direct message me and we'll talk. All right, so here's my stuff. Oklahoma starts me off at number 10, Ole Miss at 9, Oregon at 8, Notre Dame 7, Texas Tech is 6, Indiana is 5, and then we got Alabama, Texas A&M, Georgia, and of course that has to leave the number 1 team for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And the reason why I'm putting them up there, it's real simple. I only need to hear one stat. And I see the comment. I'll get to it when Cheese tells us who his number 1 is, but I'm banking it's going to be the same. And he said this in his Big Ten video that he just did. I believe I have this right. The Ohio State Buckeyes have given up a total of 75 points to all of their opponents so far. I believe that's the right number. It's either 73 or 75. Whichever one
75 in 10 games.
In 10 games. 7.5 points per game. I don't care who you're playing. When your defense can hold people to 7.5, and you've got a quarterback that's in the top 5 of the Heisman voting, and then you've got one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the country, it's a pretty good recipe for wins. So I'm going to pick Ohio State to win it all in the College National Football Playoff.
They shut out Wisconsin. Minnesota scored 3 points. I mean, Texas scored 7 total. It's crazy. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's exactly right. Like, it's gonna be Georgia Tech Pitt winner versus Virginia, and so basically what they're saying is Miami's going to get it at large. No, they don't deserve it. If Miami lost at home to Louisville, who was their other loss? It was another bad loss. They lose to Pitt.
4th, right?
Who the other loss is? But the thing is with Miami is at 10-2, they didn't play a good enough schedule to. Okay, they beat Notre Dame, I guess, but they didn't play a good enough schedule to get at large 10-2 versus Big Ten or SEC schools, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree completely. Miami does not deserve to make it. You remember who Miami lost to? Louisville at home was a bad loss. Anyway, okay, my number 1.
I'm looking it up right now. You go ahead and tell us who your number 1 is. I'll have
my
it for
number
you.
1 is they lost to SMU. Not a good loss. That's not good. SMU still has a chance to be in the ACC title game, by the way. Okay, my number 1 is a team you talked about a lot in our previous video, Duke Blue Devils. You love Duke. No. Ohio State, you got to go Ohio State, best chance. The stat you just gave, their defense has been incredible. Just overall, their stats are, they're not just winning, they're beating the crap out of people. They're just loaded. And what's crazy is I don't think they have as good a roster as last year. I don't think it's a huge drop off, very slight, but I don't think they're as good as last year when they won the national title. But they went 48-10, 34-10, 38-14, 34-0. They're 42-3. They're just blowing everyone out. The only close game was Texas, and they won 14-7. They held them to 7 points, and that was week 1. So, yeah, Ohio State, they're just absolutely loaded. Number 1.
All right, so the schedule for Miami here, they beat Notre Dame. They beat the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, whoever in the world that is.
I'm surprised you even mentioned it.
They beat South Florida. They beat Florida. They had their bye. Then they beat Florida State. Louisville beat them 24-21. They beat Stanford. SMU beat them, as what you had just said, and beat them by 26-20 score. So they just won 41-7 over North Carolina. And this Saturday they play Virginia Tech, and they end the season against the Pitt Panthers.
Okay, they're at Pitt. Yeah, beating Virginia Tech's not going to help their thing. I just don't think they played a hard enough schedule. That Florida State victory, it means nothing now. They did beat Notre Dame, but could you see Miami making it over, let's say USC goes 10-2 or Vandy goes 10-2? I don't think so.
No, I'm with you. I don't think so either. And I love it when we got smart fans, right? So I got to see. Let me pull this back up. At 72 Who, that was who did that. Thank you. Appreciate you guys being smart fans and knowing exactly what's going on in the college football landscape.
Yeah, he's very smart. Mm-hmm. He's a lot smarter than me.
Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but again, I love it when we have smart fans.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. So that's our lights out list of the teams that we think can win the college football playoff. Anything you want to add as far as a whole? Anything we've talked about so far tonight?
Just what we just talked about, the lights out list. I would move Texas Tech up a couple spots. You had them 6. I probably would move them up 6, knowing that they might not be it. They're probably going to be in the 5-8 range. And that is advantageous. I'm going to do a video tomorrow, and I'm going to do even a deeper dive in why they changed it. I'm going to change some things, and I'm glad I did those videos. And yeah, I think the reason they did the conference championship thing is because teams were worried that the Big Ten and SEC would dominate the top 4. Well, it's going to happen. It's very likely they're going to be the top 4 seeds. So, yeah. And Ohio State, Indiana both should be in the top 4, in my opinion.
And I will say, shout out. We should have done this during our MLB, but I will say shout out to the surprise Saguaros. They won the AFL, the Arizona Fall League. I did not like how that went down this year, where they gave everybody a chance to be in it. It's like participation trophies. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like the way the college football is doing it with the top 4 seeds. That means the regular season means something in college football. So if you have a good regular season, you deserve to have a bye. But then at the same point, I can also see where some of these teams are like, we don't want to bye. We don't want to be off for 3 weeks. But it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see if it changes from the way it went down last year to the way it goes down this year.
Yes, I agree.
I agree. All right. Fantastic. Hey, buddy, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Let's get this outro music going here as we do every time. And then we will say goodbye to all of our fans, as we always do. Once again, our sponsor, Battle Bites, please go over to them. Go over to Battle Bites and be able to grab some of that fantastic jerky in the 3 flavors that they have, the Reaper Original and Spicy Sweet. Use the code ALLGLOVESOFF10 and get 10% off of your order and support the programs that support us here at Lights Out Sports. For myself and for my buddy Cheese, we tell everybody the same thing we always do, as we give the little salute to everybody as well. The only thing that's fair in life is a baseball hit between the third and first base line. Good evening, everyone.